NBC Sports is live at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York. The fans have been patient. Now the drivers, the crews, and the broadcast team ready to go. Let's take you trackside and get the command for today's race.
And now race fans, to give the command to get the field of the Zippo 200 underway, here is NFL Hall of Fame Buffalo Bills quarterback and Grand Marshal Jim Kelly.
All right. In honor of my son Hunter, who never got to utter those words, famous in racing, but he's going to do them today with Daddy from heaven above. Hunter, you ready? Gentlemen, start your engines.
An emotional command from NFL Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. The engines have fired. The teams are ready. When we come back, we'll roll off. We'll take you through the grid and get you ready to go racing at the Glen. NBC Sports is live at Watkins Glen. You haven't missed a thing. We've had fun talking to drivers, hearing Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly give the command, and now, after about a 2-hour delay, we're getting ready to go racing at Watkins Glen. Take a look at the Busch Series championship standings. After 23 of the 35 races this season, Martin Truex Jr. with 6 wins has been outstanding. And there's Clint Boyer, Reed Sorensen, Carl Edwards, and Kenny Wallace. We heard from him, rounding out the top 5 all the way back to Paul Menard, now in the 10th spot. Cars rolling off of pit road here at the Glen. Here is the starting grid for today's Zippo 200. At Watkins Glen, on the pole, the hottest driver in NASCAR, Tony Stewart. Right next to him, Casey Kane. Then you've got Robbie Gordon and Ryan Newman and Martin Truex Jr. and Paul Menard in row 3.
In row 4 on the inside, Brian Vickers, Carl Edwards on the outside. Boris Said, true road racer in row 5, Joe Nemechek, Ashton Lewis, and Greg Biffle in row 6.
Take you back to row 7. There's Scott Pruitt. We talked to him. Denny Hamlin, the young driver in the 20 car. Dale Jarrett, former series champion, along with Tyler Walker and Chris Cook. Back there in row 9 with Jorge Getters.
Row 10, Wally Diamondback, Carlos Contreras out of Mexico, Jeff Burton, Paul Wolf, Michael Waltrip, and Brent Sherman.
Row 13, Regan Smith and Reed Sorensen, Johnny Sauter, Travis Kvapil. In row 15, Jamie McMurray and Justin Labonte.
Row 16, Stacy Compton, Kenny Wallace. Inside of row 17, Busch North driver Matt Kobieluk, Ron Fellows. He will be going forward, hopefully in the 43 car.
Row 19, David Green and Randy LaJoy. J.J. Yaley, David Stremme in row 20. Back in row 21, Clint Boyer and Stanton Barrett.
And 43rd spot, Steve Grissom.
And on the past champions provisional.
And a huge list of drivers that failed to qualify. Elliott Sadler probably leading that list.
And take a look at the guys dropping to the back of the field today.
Stanton Barrett had an engine problem during qualifying, had to change an engine.
Same with the 2.
Johnny Sauter missed the driver's meeting.
And so did Tyler Walker. And the 18 made a transmission change. Wally Dallenbach starting today in that 83 car BP. See if he's busy down there.
All right. Hey, Wally, BP up in the booth. You got me?
That's bad.
Uh-oh. Hey, that's your car. You got bum radios in that car there, Kevin?
I don't know, but that's not good as a driver. You know, you want to hear everything that's going on. So hopefully he can hear them.
Maybe we should ask the spotter, Bernie Lamar, if he's heard from him.
Yeah, ask Bernie if you can hear him.
Hey, Bernie Lamar, this is Benny Parsons up in the booth. You got me?
Maybe it's our radio.
Maybe it's our radio. Yes.
Let's hope it's the radio up here. Wally's done a great job this weekend. He didn't get any practice laps and qualified that car cold, so he's done good.
And you know, a lot of times drivers say, I didn't get any practice. But in this case, he literally didn't get any practice at all.
No, he got absolutely 0 laps. We spent 2 days up here testing, and it looks like those 2 days up here have paid off for us more than we could have ever imagined.
The field will get the one to go this time by. It will be a green-yellow start on the second time by. They're coming to get the one to go, then green-yellow at the Glen. Forty-three cars on course here at Watkins Glen, coming to get the green-yellow to start this NASCAR Busch Series race. For more on NASCAR, log on to NBCSports.com. Check out an in-depth preview by Benny Parsons of tomorrow's Nextel Cup race here at the Glen, including BP's favorite to win and his top drivers to watch. It's all at NBCSports.com. Come on, let us in. Let us in on the secret.
I'll tell you this, the driver I picked to win is on the pole.
Yeah,
that's probably a good choice.
Way to go out on a limb there, BP. Okay, field coming around, about to go through the inner loop. Let's get a pit whip, starting with Marty Snyder.
BP, I love it when you take risks. That's a big risk gambling on Tony Stewart tomorrow. And then, yeah, and it's a good gamble today as well. He's the favorite tomorrow, and many people say the favorite in this race. Just talked to Smoke a few moments ago, not worried about what happened to the racetrack with all the rain, washing the rubber off as the rain sprinkles a little bit right now. The car, very good. They talked about putting some of the 20 setup in it from the Nextel Cup side. They decided not to do that because big difference between the Busch cars and the Nextel Cup cars. But Tony said this car just as good as my Cup car. Alan?
Well, Casey Kane starts second in today's race. We talked with him earlier before the rain delay in this race and asked him if he had enough experience to win this race against the likes of Tony Stewart and some of the other guys. After all, this is only Casey's second ever race here at Watkins Glen. He said, I'm probably going to go to school for a little while, but when the end of the day, I think I'll be right up there with him someplace. Matt?
To understand why Robbie Gordon, who starts on the inside of row 2, is so motivated coming to Watkins Glen, you have to go back to the first ever road course race at Mexico City back in the spring. Had one of the best race cars all weekend, fought motor issues all weekend, started in the front row, but he then also fell victim to another motor issue. Came here, hadn't expected to run here, but felt like he owed his sponsor one more chance at victory. Came here, but didn't have a safety net, so he had to play conservative in qualifying. He said he felt like he left half a second to 3/4 of a full second out on the racetrack. He said, but once we're in the show, look out, we are going to go to the front. Dave?
Matt, when you talk to the 60 crew, one of the things they mentioned about working with Carl Edwards is how fun it is to work for him even when things go bad. And it's been very up and down for Carl this year on the road courses. Earlier this year in Mexico City, he destroyed a car in practice, ran the race in a backup car, finished third, kept his positive attitude all weekend long. Here at Watkins Glen, in the test earlier this month, they wrecked the race car, repaired that car. It's in the race today. Carl starts 8th, and he has that great positive attitude. Bill?
Thanks, Dave.
Bill, the green is out.
And their
yellow flag is also out. Doggone it.
That's probably one of the biggest letdowns, as you can imagine, getting a green flag under yellow and then having to take a few laps.
But they do that to help dry the track and to make sure the conditions are perfect for you guys.
I mean, there's no better track dryer than 43 stock cars out there on the racetrack with 1,000-degree exhaust underneath of them.
And each car, that's right, each car has an exhaust of 1,000 degrees.
That'll do the trick. 18 drivers in today's race are also in tomorrow's Nextel Cup race, and 13 of the top 40 in Cup are in today's race.
And you see that pit window, 32 to 35. Tell you what, when it gets 35 laps to go, a lot of cars are going to pit and never see pit road again.
Well, in my opinion, the guy who will win this race will be at the front side of that window. Track position is so important here.
Meaning you pit early.
Yeah, if you can pit under green and then the caution come out, that's the most important thing you can do on a road course, and you gain all that track position when everybody else has to pit under the yellow. So hopefully you got to catch a break, and you also have to have a fast car. 6
sets of tires for the Busch Series teams this weekend at Watkins Glen, and there is a change. There will be a lucky dog here at the Glen this time.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. So if you get knocked off the lead lap, if you're the highest scored car not on the lead lap, you will get the lucky dog, and they will move you around as the field gets the one to go, which they do back at the inner loop or the chicane on the backstretch. Wally Dallenbach looking around.
Wonder what he's looking for right now. You think he's trying to figure out if his radio's working, or maybe the owner didn't spend enough money to make the radios work?
Yeah.
Well, we did find out that his team has switched to their second channel.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll do that what'll happen is there'll be a lot of interference at the beginning of the race with everybody using the radios.
He just didn't want to have to talk to Benny.
That's okay. He may not want to talk, but there's enough cameras in that car. We'll know what's going on.
Man, oh man.
And I have a cell phone too.
Do you? Okay. Are you aware of that when you've got onboard cameras?
You know, you're aware of the cameras being in the car, and right up until the race starts. And then once you get in, you forget everything's there, as many of us show on the weekend sometimes in the things that we do. So
this is the inner loop Wally's going through now on the backstretch. Put him back there to slow the cars down.
I see a few drops of rain back there.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the hardest corners because you're going so fast into the inner loop, and then you go through there and you have to hit all the curbs and let off the brake, and then the car gets really loose coming out of the inner loop into this back sweeper right here. But there's a lot of speed to be gained on the exit of this corner down into the straightaway.
What did we see in qualifying for the Nextel Cup, Bill? 180 mile per hour going into the inner loop and we start braking?
Yep.
I think it was.
Yeah, and that's incredible, you know, because basically you go down to second gear getting into the inner loop, and I don't know what the mile per hour is, but the brakes on these cars are phenomenal.
Well, we were under the green-yellow here at Watkins Glen. These laps are counting. When we come back, hopefully they'll pull that yellow, put it down, and green flag racing for the NASCAR Busch Series on NBC. Tony Stewart leads at Watkins Glen. Oh, wait a minute. We're still under the green-yellow, and he's the pole sitter. So he does lead, but that's because we haven't set him loose yet. Still making sure the track's totally dry and race ready. Let's go down to Allen.
Well, Bill, one of the unique factors of Watkins Glen is that the pit road only contains 41 stalls, and there are 43 cars in the race. Clint Bowyer, second in the Busch Series Championship, when he had his problems in qualifying that relegated him to 41st starting spot. It also relegated him to sharing a pit stall with Steve Grissom, the 43rd place starter. So there are 2 pit boxes, 2 sets of crew members, 2 sets of tires, all in this one pit box. The 2 crew chiefs, Kenneth Campbell for Grissom and Gil Martin for Clint Bowyer, just had a meeting, and what they've settled on is that whichever car is farther ahead in the race at that time will have the priority to come down pit road. Once somebody else drops out of the race, one of these pit crews can move to another stall, but for now, your second place driver in points not only handicapped by his starting spot, but by where they had to pick on pit road.
And Alan, you know where that car that's going to fall out is going to be, don't you?
Yeah, the one that's all the way down. This is at the turn 11 end of pit road. The one that's about a mile from here down at the turn 1 end of pit road.
Yeah, what number pit are you in there at, Alan?
This would be 41.
It would be pit 2.
Yeah. Or one of those top 5 down there. You're exactly right.
That's a tough spot to be in there. It's you know, you always want to have a pit stall, and this race is going to come down to pit strategy by the end of it. You have, like I said earlier, you have to have a fast car, but that happened to me one time, and the first thing I did was run into the guy that we were sharing a pit stall with on the first lap.
Took care of him. Still under caution here at Watkins Glen. Waiting to withdraw the yellow and send the field out under green. We'll be back after we take this timeout from the Glen.
NASCAR Busch Series racing from Watkins Glen is brought to you by Home 123, the official mortgage company of NASCAR. Log on to home123.com and enter the Home 123 Pay Off Your Mortgage sweepstakes today. And by Harley-Davidson. It's time to ride.
NBC Sports live at Watkins Glen. 3 laps are complete, all under the caution for the NASCAR Busch Series, waiting for the yellow flag to be withdrawn and to go green flag racing here at the Glen. We go down pit road to Marty.
Well, Kevin Mannion, how's your race car so far? 3 laps in.
Well, right now it's pretty slow, but you know, we'll see what happens. I don't know. The rain's definitely coming. It's still sprinkling pretty hard on the back. It looks like it's for some people. I don't think we can do it, but I've heard of some people can make it a one-lap or one-stop race now.
This really does play with your fuel mileage, and fuel mileage will be key today. So you spent all last night thinking about that. Is it all out the window now, or do you just recalculate?
Well, it's we still know how far we can go and when our last stop will be, and that's what's key. But you know, we had an idea when we'd stop for the first time, and that's definitely changed. And Dave's over there crunching numbers, and Will's down there pulling his hair out. And you know, we'll just see what happens, whether they get it in tonight. You know, before the darkness comes, or they got some rain tires, and we got wiper motors and tail lights, and I think it'd be cool to see what they could do in the rain.
That would be an interesting race at a minimum. Dave?
Standing by with Rick Byers, crew chief for the 21, driven by Jeff Burton. Today we're watching the field go by, taking a long time to get to your car back here. Is that going to be tough starting mid-pack for Jeff?
Well, I don't think so. We felt like we made a lot of changes from practice yesterday and improved quite a bit. The qualifying position doesn't show it, but Jeff's really happy with the car. And obviously with the rain the way it is, we're going to have to do a lot of pit strategy to try to get ourselves up front.
A lot of the discussion on the radio is about spotting in different places on this track. You're still kind of getting people scraped up to do some of that, and maybe even Kevin up in the booth, right?
Yeah, we've got a lot of people around the racetrack to help Jeff out, but I think we're going to have a good day. I'm looking forward to it.
Last person they called on, Brandon Miller, the development driver who sometimes drives this 21 car, has gone down to turn 1 to help in the spotting effort. Matt?
Well, Dave, here on top of Rusty Wallace's pit box, where next year you'll be here every race weekend as a car owner. But what are you going to do next year? All you have up here is a scoring monitor. You already taking notes?
I told Blake, our crew chief, I said, we got to get this thing better, man. I need a TV set up here, monitors, and I got to get me a more comfortable chair, a little higher too, you know, with a big antenna. We got to make it like a big condo so I know what's going on out there.
What is your driver saying out there right now?
He just said it's hard getting the track dried out right now. The jet dryers are running, but he still sees the racetrack wet. But I think he'll get it in real quick. I think probably another 15 minutes before they drop the green.
Your last call continues. Tomorrow will be your final road course event in a Nextel Cup car.
Yeah, it will be. It's going to be an interesting day. We really skirted a bullet today, buddy. I tell you, I had a good car, and I way underdrove it. I drove way too easy of a lap, and the rain came, and I still started 4th. So, hey, wow, man, that was a good one. But I think we'll have a great car tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, he starts up front tomorrow, but his car that he owns in the race today with Jamie McMurray behind the wheel, Bill, he starts all the way back in 28th, and that's exactly where he is right now, 4 laps into the books.
Thanks, Matt. Byers, crew chief on the 21, your car. Were you laughing about Brandon spotting?
No, Brandon, he helps us out any way he can. Yeah. He's done it before. He's been up and spotted, and that's actually a good spot for him. He can learn a lot. There's not anywhere around here that you can see every corner, but Brandon does a good job.
Does Kevin Harvick have a development driver? What's Bernie Lamar?
You know, Bernie Lamar is actually our development driver at KHI, and he's up spotting for Wally Dallenbach. That's probably why you can't talk to him on the radio. He's not allowing any conversation with his driver right now.
I see.
Well, turn 1 will be very interesting when they do set them loose under green. It's been reworked down there, and there's a lot of room to race. Well, maybe not a lot, but there's a little more. We'll see who uses it and how well. Six laps are now complete in the Zippo 200, all of them under caution here at Watkins Glen. And as the cars went under the starter stand along the pit stretch, drivers were asked to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the condition of the course.
And we don't know what happened?
I don't think it's very positive at this point, but we'll have our pit guys check on that, but we can't have Alan check on that yet. You know why?
Why?
Because he's got a story for us.
He does?
Alan?
He does. I know Meet the Press is tomorrow, Bill, and you're a big Tim Russert fan, but I got my own little version of the board out here. We've been talking fuel numbers, and believe me, 90% of the conversation between the crew chiefs and the drivers right now is about fuel mileage. 82-lap race. If 35 laps is the maximum fuel range, that means they'll pit at lap 47. Notice we're working backwards from the finish. Another 35 laps from there is lap 12. And if you get 2 laps for 1, caution flag to green, we might see some guys pit as soon as they put this thing under full green and be looking to make this race on just 1 more stop to the finish. Huge debate right now in a couple of these pits down here behind me.
Did you double check the math?
I even did it. This is the second attempt at it because I wanted to make sure, and I didn't want Wally to go back and look at the tape and see that I carried the 1 and did all that other stuff.
Bad chance of that happening.
That's true.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. And that's what you were talking about earlier, Kevin. As soon as you get a shot, man, you want to be on pit road.
That's the whole ticket. If you can pass 10 cars from pit strategy by putting yourself in the pits under green and the caution coming out, and all of a sudden everybody else has to pit, you're in the hot seat.
And even if 3 cars gets back by you, you picked up 7 positions.
Exactly, and I mean that is the easiest way to pass anybody is on pit road, and whether it's by fuel mileage or having a good pit stop or whatever the case may be, that is by far the easiest place you can pass anybody.
Well, I'm not out there in a car, but part of the racetracks we've seen looks good.
Yeah, they're looking at wet spots apparently around the track, just individual wet spots around the track that they want to get dry. And Harvick here has been watching a puddle across the track, and
I got my rain meter over here right outside the grandstands, and there's no more sprinkles inside that puddle. So I always said I could be a weatherman because if you have half a chance of it raining, it's 50% of a chance, and you can't be right or wrong.
There you go. Well, we're still under caution. We'll get a break in here and come back and hopefully get a little bit closer to green flag racing. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching NASCAR Busch Series action, sort of, on NBC. We have completed 7 laps, all under the caution here at Watkins Glen, and now we are completing lap number 8 as Tony Stewart leads the field over the start-finish line. NASCAR is still talking with drivers about the condition of the track. Here is our Wendy's race menu, and tomorrow we're right back here on NBC at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at Watkins Glen. Kevin Harvick's with us up here because Wally Dallenbach's in the race. How's your stuff for tomorrow?
Our car was really good. We only made 3 or 4 laps in practice. We scuffed some tires for qualifying in our mock qualifying run just to kind of knock the slick edge off of the tires, and then it rained and didn't have to use them. So we had a good test up here, and we're looking forward to our GM Goodwrench Chevrolet being good in the race tomorrow.
Okay, well, when I forget later, I'll wish you good luck now.
Okay,
and thanks for coming up with us.
No problem. Having a great time.
Let's take you up and down pit road, starting with Yoakum.
Well, Bill, Kevin Harvick said that his puddle on the front stretch is showing no signs of rain. That's exactly what J.J. Yaley is telling Jason Ratcliffe in the 18 team. He said that the only area on the track that he has a concern is up through the S's. It's still damp there, but it isn't raining on the other parts of the course, so the track is continuing to dry.
See Mike Helton walking down to turn 1, checking everything over and just seeing how wet that spot is.
He's NASCAR president, a hands-on kind of guy. And some of these are weepers where the water actually sort of like seeps up back through the track.
Yeah, and that's probably, from all the rain that came all of a sudden. It's rained all afternoon yesterday and this morning or this afternoon. So those are definitely weeping out of the racetrack.
And obviously you want all the water off the track. The series, just like the Nextel Cup Series in the trucks, they run on slicks.
Yeah, these tires right here, they're slick tires, and you can withstand a few sprinkles here and there, but those spots like that, you definitely can't go through.
Now let's take a look at this, okay? This is where a lot of the work has been done, right in through here. That used to be some sand and basically the kitty litter,
yeah,
but now it's all been paved.
Basically what they've done is repave that whole area for the Indy cars, is why they knocked down the curbs and repaved this area. And what would happen is, that's a huge passing zone. That's one of the only passing zones going into turn 1. And now you can be pretty aggressive getting in there because there's not a penalty anymore to pay by getting stuck in the sand for a lap.
Well, that's the thing. You used to, if you spun off course, you got in the gravel trap and you couldn't get out without the aid of a wrecker to pull you out. And NASCAR couldn't send a wrecker out with cars on the racetrack.
Right.
So basically you had to sit there for a lap and lose a lap till the wrecker got to you.
And I think that's part of the reason that I think the lucky dog rule. I like the lucky dog rule. I think it keeps you from, if you had a bad race, I mean, you lost a lap and basically couldn't ever get it back at a road course.
Right, you were done. That'll be something when they charge into turn 1 when they do get the green. 9 laps are complete. For those of you tuning into NBC to see the volleyball, I want to let you know that's been moved over to CNBC. So if you're a volleyball fan, check that out. Otherwise, stick here with us. We're going to try and go green flag racing, and now we're going down to Marty.
And we're with Mark Truder, the crew chief for the man who's leading the field right now, Tony Stewart. And what's Tony saying about the track right now, Mark?
He says it's still a little bit wet in a few spots, but we can get going green. If everybody uses their head, it'll be okay.
Now, this really plays with your fuel mileage a little bit. Might you pit when we go green?
We're probably going to pit sometime pretty early.
Like how early? The boss man's in the booth.
I wouldn't tell him.
It's just us listening. But he says don't tell us.
Well, we need to see how many laps we do actually get under caution here to know exactly when we should stop.
All right, Kevin, you want any advice for Mark before we get going here?
Pit to win.
Pit to win. He said pit to win, whatever you do.
That's what we're going to try to do, boss.
All right, he's got you covered down here, boss. Don't worry about it. Dave?
Let's take a look at a rookie, Marty. A look at a rookie. That is Denny Hamlin in the 20 car. His crew chief, Kelly Barraclaw, has been watching a very fast rookie in his first weekend at Watkins Glen. 3rd in practice yesterday. You kind of wish he'd been a little slower and maybe, not so much up on the wheel because he's really got to concentrate for 82 laps here.
No, we're actually pretty surprised at the speed because in our mind and his, he's actually been taking it really easy. He hasn't been jumping curves, just being smooth, and it's actually made him faster just trying to smooth out. So
with his goals today, pretty much to stay on the track, but being fast, where do you think he's going to balance that?
I think he's just going to follow guys like Greg Biffle and Pruitt, the guys he's around, try to learn from them. It's his first time here. He's doing a great job. Rockwell Automation Chevy's handling fine for him. So we'll just ride it out here and get away with a clean car, hopefully.
Denny's having a good year. He's in 6th position right now. Remember, he had that great 3rd place finish at Loudon just a few weeks ago.
Thank you, Dave. Field coming around to complete lap number 10. And while they do, we wait to get the green. We'll step away, get in these commercial messages, and come back to Watkins Glen for today's NASCAR Busch Series race. Still under caution here at Watkins Glen, and this is actually taking place right now. NASCAR President Mike Helton leaning in to talk to former Nextel Cup champion Dale Jarrett, who's in this race.
I think he's looking for an honest opinion right now of what the racetrack is, and if the wet spots are in the places where it's going to affect the groove.
And the field went through the inner loop there. Jarrett went straight, and we're trying to find out if Mike asked to speak to DJ or if Jarrett simply saw Helton out there.
I'm sure they asked him to stop just to get an opinion. A lot of times they'll send a rabbit to test the track.
And we saw a fellow back just off the inner loop. Did he have a saw or something back there?
Yeah, usually what they do when they get those weepers like that is they'll just try to cut a trough to get it to run off somewhere else.
And we get word.
There we go.
There you go. And we do get word from NASCAR that President Mike Helton asked Jarrett to stop for that conversation.
I think that's, that spot right there, and you can see the seam right above it, going all the way through that sweeper right there. It looks like it's all the way around the corner, so it's a lot of cutting.
We'll watch this, and let's go to Alan.
All right, I'm with Gil Martin, who's the crew chief of the 2nd place driver in the championship, Clint Boyer. You are way back in traffic. Any strategy tricks you want to clue us in on to try and gain some track position here?
Man, all the strategy's gone for the AC Delco Chevrolet right now. I mean, because we were going to try to pit early. Everybody can pretty well go to halfway now, and I think you can go from there. But we'll just have to do the best we can do. We just have to drive it to the front.
Yeah, did you give him any advice? Clinton maybe didn't appear the most confident in his road course abilities earlier this weekend.
Well, we've been in a little bit of a deficit, I guess, ever since qualifying. Now we're starting in the back. We're doubling up pitting, so it'll just be that much more exciting. I told him, I said, just drive it to the front, take care of your fenders, we'll be fine.
And his team owner, Richard Childress, is down here in the box with him. Richard just expressed his opinion on the fact that they have to double up pits on a racetrack of this size, but I don't think I'll give you his exact quote on that right now.
My dad would imagine he'd be too happy.
No, I don't think so. Dave, what do you got?
Standing by with Newt Moore, our crew chief for Greg Biffle today. And Newt's always thinking about ways to get an advantage here. You saw them cutting that groove out of the what was it out of there? Anyway, you saw an advantage the driver might be able to take and hook that, you think?
Yeah, he can hook his right side tire off in there and get a good turn on it. But yeah, they're about to get her wrapped up, it looks like.
What, you talking with Greg back and forth right now. He's a pretty smart racer. What are you guys talking about in terms of strategy now in this race?
Well, we were trying to figure out if we could come on down here, top off, and it looks like he's got some rain coming. So we're kind of talking about that a little bit, and then he corrected me and said if we pit, we got to go tail him the longest line. So wouldn't really be worth it.
And it's difficult to watch this at this point because you'd rather be green flag racing. But in terms of running the rest of the race, you guys could pretty much make it to halfway right now with all this yellow flag racing?
Well, road course is a little different than most racetracks, pretty much 1-to-1 or almost 1-to-1. So we'd still have to pit around 35, 38, something like that. So we couldn't get to halfway.
And Greg's enthusiasm for this car this weekend, Newt, how high has it been?
Oh, it's been great. We got, I think, 11 more races with him the rest of the year. We're looking forward to it.
All right, he's good on the ovals. Biffle's good on the road course as well.
Kevin, you believe that 1-to-1?
Yeah.
Do you think that a caution flag lap uses as much fuel as a lap at speed?
I think what he's saying is it's so close to being 1-to-1 that, on an oval you can cruise around in third gear, but here, I mean, you're using second gear and first gear. Some of the guys will use first gear, not in these cars, but so the fuel mileage is close enough to where you can't count on it being 2-to-1.
And as mentioned, if you pit before the yellow is withdrawn, before the first full green flag lap, you will have to go to the tail end of the longest line. for at least a 1-lap penalty. Still under caution, waiting for the green flag at the Glen. Take a look at the home 1, 2, 3 bubble drivers of the Nextel Cup Series who will be racing tomorrow here at Watkins Glen. You can log on to NASCAR.com for more information. Who's that smiling face, that happy face in the middle there?
What about that guy, Kevin Harvick? You gonna be able to make the top 10?
I was just telling you guys, this is probably the most important weekend. That lineup right there can take a huge swing one way or the other here at Watkins Glen. So we're 82 points out, and we got to do everything we can do in the next 5 races and see what happens.
82 points out of 10th. They're going to give the field 2 to go this time by the starter stand and see if anybody waves it off. I think they're going to see how many guys wave it off. We've completed 13 laps so far.
I've got to do something. They've got to throw the green flag or stop.
Yeah.
As an owner, I wouldn't be too disappointed if it just ended this way.
Put out the checkers now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because that Tony Stewart, that would be a...
Yeah, that would be one of our cars.
Oh, okay.
But Wally Dallenbach probably wouldn't be real happy with that, would he?
No, and neither would the viewers that have been sitting around waiting for this.
I agree.
The fans, So at the starter stand, the flagman indicating 2 to go. And what drivers will do is they'll give a thumbs down, or they will jump on the radio and say it's okay or it's not okay.
Tell them, no, there's a wet spot up someplace around the racetrack that needs to be repaired. But as I said, they either got to throw the green flag or stop the cars and get the track. If there is a wet spot, get it dry.
Yeah, we've run 14 laps here, so I mean that's getting on a race that's only 80-some laps long. I mean that's quite a few laps. So, but in these situations, NASCAR definitely does listen to the drivers, and unless they have a majority that says it's ready to go, they won't go until they get it fixed.
Well, we'll check out what the votes indicate when we come back here to Watkins Glen, trying to dry those weepers and put out the green flag at the Glen. We're still under caution, green-yellow here at Watkins Glen. We have not run a green flag lap yet. 15 laps are completed. During the previous lap, the starter stand gave the field 2 to go. A couple of drivers waved that off.
So he came back, they gave him 2 to go once again.
Right. And now we're hearing this will be a single file start or restart.
And that's probably not a bad thing, to be honest with you. It you can get in a hurry going down into turn 1 and try to get in there pretty deep, and with all the little weepers that we have getting into turn 1 down there, it's probably a really good call.
I agree. That is a tremendous call.
And I think once we get going, I don't think those will be a problem. But when you're 3 wide,
could be a problem.
That'll be the only issue is if you go 3 wide. It looks from here anyway that 2 wide will be no problem getting above those. So,
Snyder, you've been eavesdropping down there?
Yeah, I have, Weber. And the busiest thing down here are computer programs and calculators. These guys are trying to figure out this fuel mileage. Now, if they do go green within 2 or 3 laps, most of the teams are talking about 1 green flag lap. That's it. Then coming down pit road, taking on fuel and no tires. Then they'll do the race on 1 stop from there. The next rain shower is supposed to be at about an hour to an hour and a half away. So maybe making this race on 1 stop, maybe pitting as soon as they go green. Alan?
And as a counterpoint to that, Marty, there is one team down here talking about, well, if everybody else pits, let's stay out, run as many laps as we can, then we can make our next pit stop shorter and take on less fuel.
What are you thinking, Harvick?
If it was me, I'd pit.
Would you?
Just for the fact of you got to play it to the end. You can't count on when the rain's coming. You have to play your strategy out to be on the racetrack as close as you can to the end of the race, as long as you can. So you may lose a little bit now, but I think as soon as you can make it, you need to be on pit road.
1 to go, everybody. Field coming out of turn 7, down to the start-finish line. The indication 1 to go.
So what Marty's talking about is that cars would pit now, so that they would only have to pit 1 more time.
Right.
And all the other cars that stay on the racetrack would have to stop twice. So
yeah.
Okay.
We'll have Alan work on that math for us.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
So you see the lights are out on the pace car. So the field will get the green next time by. 17 laps have been completed. We're running lap 18 under a green and yellow here at Watkins Glen, and scheduled event distance 82 laps.
If I knew anything about what was going on, I didn't know if it was 82 or 84 laps. I could have looked right in front of myself.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
17 of 82 on top of the screen. Yeah. Yes.
It'll be
all that information for you, just for you, Kevin, and everybody watching at home.
Well, I mean, this is even though we're going to have run 17 laps on the caution, this is going to be an interesting race just for the fact that there's going to be a lot of different strategies that we're going to see play out here, and that's what makes our sport so great.
Matt, go ahead.
Well, Bill, earlier in our show here, you saw that Dale Jarrett had a long conversation with Mike Helton out on the racetrack. Now, DJ has never reported back to his team the topics of that conversation, but he did say to his team, I don't think turn 5 is ready yet, but the rest of the racetrack is good. So, but you can see we're getting ready to go green. One other conversation, J.J. Yaley's crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, said, look, there are 2 lines on pit road. There's a yellow line, which is backed up to the black asphalt, but the white line is what the pit box is. So you've got to make sure you're inside that white line. So JJ's never raced here. A lot of rookies here at Watkins Glen in today's race. So pit road could be a story along those lines as well.
Thanks, Matt. Good point.
That is a very good point. Remember at Indy a couple of years ago, we had the same situation where we had a yellow line and a white line, and drivers became confused as to which one was the out of bounds. Here, you have to be inside this white line. Otherwise, you're out of your pit box. That's a penalty.
Yeah, and obviously these pit stalls are a little short. You know, being that they have to share pit stalls at the end, you know that they're getting everything they can out of pit road, so they're a little short.
And of course there is an outside wall here on pit road. It can become very congested, and if a lot of these guys want to come down pit road after the first green flag lap, it'll be a busy place. The field through the inner loop and the carousel, heading for turn 7. They'll come out of 7 under the bridge and get the green flag. A lot of experience in this field and a lot of inexperience in this field today.
Well, Tony Stewart, very experienced on road racing. Casey Kane, not that much. Brian Vickers there in the 5 car. You know he's in this race to try to get some more seat time, because when he ran the NASCAR Busch Series, they didn't run here at Watkins. They didn't run road courses.
Yeah, and this place is a lot different than Mexico, so a lot of these guys, a lot higher speed, and a lot of the inexperienced guys are definitely in for a treat today.
First NASCAR Busch Series race at the Glen since 2001. Tony Stewart, the hottest driver in NASCAR, brings the field out of turn 7. Thanks for staying with us. You're about to be rewarded for your patience. The green flag about to come out at Watkins Glen. Here we go.
Oh, check out Robbie Gordon in the 5 car.
He had about 18 laps to plan that, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's definitely really good at getting in the corners under braking, so you knew that was coming.
Oh, and Casey Kane got wide up through turn 2, but he's not got the car back under control. Did Robbie Gordon flat spot that right front tire, left front tire? My concern.
It looked like he smoked it pretty hard, so it's a good possibility.
This is the backstretch. Now the right-hander into the inner loop or the chicane. If you miss that, you have to stop. Otherwise, NASCAR will bring you to pit road for a pass-through penalty. That's Tony Stewart in the 33, Robbie Gordon in the 55. Our first lap under green. Will they come down pit road this time? Marty.
Hey guys, the tire for Robbie Gordon is fine. He radioed the crew, everything's okay. They have a problem though. They cannot pit when everybody else pits. The 33 in front of them, Tony Stewart, will pit this time. Robbie's got to stay out for 3 or 4 green flag laps before he can hit pit road.
So Robbie Gordon gets around Tony Stewart. They come out of 7 down the front stretch. Here comes Stewart to pit road.
And I think this is a good move. Anytime you can pit before everybody else, I mean, it's going to pay off in the end.
But now Tony Stewart can't make it. He's going to have to stop one more time before the day's over.
But he'll be able to run on clean racetrack, and when you can get out there and run on clean racetrack and do the things you need to do, it makes it a lot easier.
Everybody from Joe Nemechek on back, basically also on pit road. It's a busy place. Tony Stewart headed for Marty.
Coming down pit road, this was the plan all along. Whenever we talked about it while they were running under the caution in the green, it's going to be a fuel-only stop for Tony Stewart. No tires on the stop. Mark Tudor, the crew chief, told me from here we can make it on one stop, but he stalls the car leaving pit road, fires it, now he's away.
Well, that's a couple of seconds it cost you.
Yeah, it cost a couple seconds, and that's one thing that's really hard about the road races is the gear ratios are, are so high, and it's so hard to get out of the pits, and it's hard to take off.
There's Joe Nemechek coming out behind Tony, and there's your race leader, Robbie Gordon. Casey Kane behind him, and Ryan Newman, Truex, and Menard. The top 5 last time by. And let's see what happens this time.
I tell you, that 8 car back there at the test and all weekend here has been really strong. He's got a lot of experience up here and really knows how to get around this place.
That's Martin Truex Jr., your championship leader. Said is on pit road. Ashton Lewis Jr. A lot of early pit stops here, basically because you have to run this race backwards. You want to pit as soon as your window opens. Dave.
A lot less confusion down here on pit road now for Boris Said. He fills it up and he's already gone. And his teammate Johnny Sauter will come in as well. Nearly gets hit by Regan Smith. They clear. Johnny Sauter will fuel the car and he'll be gone.
Newman all over Kane here. Newman in the 39. Casey Kane in the 6. This is going to be wild to watch.
Yeah, like I said before the race started, I mean, this is one thing that makes our sport so great, is everyone is on different strategies here. You've got a lot of guys that pitted right on the first lap. Some of the guys came in, and these guys obviously don't feel that they can run that far on fuel.
Now, Johnny Sauter made a pit stop in the 1 car. He was over the line. They fuel the car anyway, and NASCAR is holding the 1 car in the pit, so that strategy did not work.
Yeah, and you see Martin Truex dipping in the pits right there, and he's obviously got to play it a little bit more conservative than Tony Stewart or some of these guys that pitted right off the bat. They're here to win the race, and he's here to gain points for a championship. So there's a lot of different scenarios playing out and a lot of different reasons why.
Martin Truex heading down pit road toward Marty as Robbie Gordon continues to lead. Snides.
He's coming down pit road, and Kevin Mannion told me, he said, man, I can't believe those guys think they can get that good of fuel mileage. I thought we were in pretty good of shape. So they're going to get fuel only again for the 8 car, and he had no complaints for the chassis in their first few green flag laps. He does not stall the car leaving pit road.
As we watch these guys go around, Kevin, just give us a little of the nuances. 40 cars slow after spinning. Carlos Contreras trying to get back up to speed. Some of the nuances of this course. It's up, it's down, it's left, it's right. It's really a challenging track to drive.
It's very challenging, and where you see Carlos coming in his last corner right here, coming down the front stretch, and you come up a hill right here, and you go into turn 1 and crest down the hill into the corner. So then you downshift a couple times right here going into the first corner, and as you come up off the corner, you go up through the S's and climb probably 7 or 8 stories. So it's a lot of elevation change.
There we see Carlos Contreras, around he goes.
He just lost it.
Yeah.
And that's where you were saying the car has a tendency to get loose there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're really on the left side, rolled over right here. Well, he hit the curve.
Yeah. Right in front of Wally.
Yeah. Wally did a good job avoiding. But that curve is about 4 or 5 inches tall, and it's just got a little bit of angle to it, and if you hit it, it just rips the tire out from underneath you, and you spin out just like that.
Robbie Gordon leads. Tony Stewart scored in 23rd last time by. Of course, Stewart has already been on pit road.
Robbie's had so much success on these road courses.
Boy, you're not kidding.
2003, he had helped us out a lot at RCR with our road course program, and you got Casey Kane, who's only been here twice, and so it's
Thinking the video game might be involved there for Casey. We'll have to check into that. Robbie Gordon leads, Kane 2nd, Ryan Newman 3rd. Marty?
Robbie's had so much success, Bill, here and also at all the road course races. And he said, you know, I felt like I owed it to my race team to race after Mexico City. They started second there, had a great car, then had an engine failure and wound up finishing 40th in that race. He said, I know the car could have won the race, and I want to prove it today. He told me right before the race started, he said, the one car I have to beat, Tony Stewart and Martin Truex. Actually, the two cars I have to beat, Tony Stewart and Martin Truex. And we'll see if this strategy helps or hurts Robbie Gordon by staying out so long.
Oh, it's going to be fun to figure out.
Yeah, and you see on the racetrack, you know, it's so interesting to sit here and think about the strategies. I mean, is he really think that he can only go 4 or 5 laps in the pit, or is he planning on just going to halfway and then coming in once? I don't know if they're telling us the whole story.
Well, that's right.
See Casey waving his hand. He's getting ready to come in the pits, and he's just letting Ryan know that he's going to slow down more than normal in the last corner here to get down on the pit road.
6 is expected on pit road this time by. That's Casey Kane. Ryan Newman right behind him. And coming with him. Alan, right to you.
Casey Kane's team sticking with their original plan. Crew Chief Trip Bruce told me before the start of the race it'd be about lap 25 where they get. This looks like about lap 24 to me. Fuel only, Casey says. The car is good. Marty?
Ryan Newman likes his car. He's going to bring it down pit road, very slowly down pit road here at Watkins Glen. It'll be fuel only for the 39 car. He just passed for second before they brought him into pit road. Roy McCauley, the crew chief, told me this is the first lap, which we can make it all the way on one more stop. Dave?
The 66 car is already gone. He did not take fuel only. He took fuel plus 2 left side tires. Biffle wanted the left side tires for a little more grip on the 66.
See Biffle coming down pit road. Matt Kobieluk in the 50 car at Busch North, competitor, coming in fuel only as Robbie Gordon completes yet another lap.
I'm thinking, well, now we're told Robbie in this time. So Gordon could be heading to pit road.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting strategy on Biffle's part, taking the 2 tires just for the fact that they Goodyear's brought a great tire and they seem to get faster. Here comes the 55 in the pit road.
He has to go all the way down toward turn 1 at 35 miles per hour. And that just feels like it takes forever for a driver. Guys zipping by on the front stretch.
Yeah, when you're pitting under green and everybody is going by, it's hard to think you're going pit road speed.
Creeping his way toward Marty Snyder.
Very slowly, Bill, and there was actually a good bit of debate on the radio about whether to take tires on this stop for Robbie Gordon. Originally, Greg Irwin, the crew chief, said, let's take 4 tires. Robbie said, I don't know if we want to do that, so it's going to be fuel only for the 55 car Robbie Gordon. This is actually the first lap. They could have made it on one more stop. Their fuel mileage is just terrible, they told me this morning.
Yeah, and that's hard to deal with on a road course when it all comes down to strategy. So. But you can see, obviously, it worked out pretty good for him. He came out in front of everybody. So
sure did. Paul Menard is scored as the race leader in the 11 car. Right there. Q on the hood.
I think Paul surprised a lot of people this year.
He sure has.
He has done a great job. He's been competitive week in and week out, qualifies well every week, and I know coming into the year, I didn't expect that out of Paul, and he's done a good job.
He struggled the first couple of months, but DEI struggled the first couple of months. Martin Truex Jr. struggled, but I tell you what, last couple of months, well, Truex has now won 6 races, and you're right, Paul Menard has been a threat.
Yeah, Truex has pretty much dominated everything that's going on. The 2 car and Clint Boyer have been there. Just right there, but they haven't been able to capitalize other than St. Louis on many situations. So they've definitely turned it around at DEI, especially in the Busch cars.
26 laps of 82 complete. Started under green-yellow, but now we've got them flying. Menard leads, followed by Brian Vickers. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Caution flag has just come out here at Watkins Glen. Brian Vickers is the race leader. The caution is for the 43 car of Ron Fellows. Smoking on the backstretch. Ron able to limp it back to pit road.
I don't know if you noticed, the 5 was trying to pit right there, so his halfway strategy might not be be 100% right, because he tried to get on the pit road right there.
Let's check on that real quick. Marty, you got the 5?
Yeah, I was just talking to Jim Long, and he's telling Brian right now to save gas. Their original strategy was to stay out to lap 42 or 44. Right now, Jim Long says stay out and save fuel.
That's a good strategy with the cautions coming out.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. They got a long way to come around before they hit pit road. Under caution here at Watkins Glen, Brian Vickers is the race leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Under caution here at Watkins Glen, after trouble for Ron Fellows. It's our second yellow flag. We started the race under the green and yellow for 17 laps, then took the green on lap 18. Then a number of drivers, including pole sitter Tony Stewart, hit pit road right away, which put them deep in the field, but maybe in the best position. And now the question is, under caution, who's coming this time?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. I mean, the 5s looked like he was trying to get on pit road, but now the caution should save him some gas. So we're about to find out.
Well, what happens if they come in the pits now? They will have to restart behind all the cars that stay on pit road. Well, Tony Stewart, all those cars that are pitted will stay on the racetrack. Here comes Carl Edwards down pit road, Scott Pruitt, Denny Hamlin.
And this is the reason that if you don't pit under green and the caution comes out, now everybody from 15th on back is pitted, so you'll never gain all that track position back.
I mean, the best that Brian Vickers can restart will probably be 15th or 16th.
At the very best.
Alan?
Well, David Stremmy's team has chosen to bring him down pit road. 4 tires are going to go up 2 rounds on the track bar, make an air pressure adjustment. David doesn't have a lot of experience on the road course, so I think they're playing kind of a conservative hand here today. Dave?
Carl Edwards heads down pit road after having received 4 fresh tires on his car. They did not make any chassis adjustments. The car operating very well for Carl, but they didn't want to make any changes. They could not stop. They had to stop one more time anyway after this. Matt?
Kenny Wallace's AutoZone mount already serviced. He said the car was a little bit on the loose side in the right-hand turns. Slight air pressure adjustment. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett, who's pitted right in front of Kenny Wallace's team, said they decided to crash on pit road.
David Green, the Continental car.
Right.
Marty, look at a lot of damage to right front, huh?
Yeah, BP, a lot of damage to the left front of David Green's car and to the left rear of Joe Nemechek's car. David thought Joe was leaving. Actually, Joe lunged forward. He has an engine problem, so they're going to check the carburetor on the 87 car. David thought Joe was leaving. He was going to follow him, but then Joe all of a sudden stopped because they were having an engine problem that they were going to check out. So a lot of damage to the front of the 27 car. Man who won just a few weeks ago, Pikes Peak, has some damage here early at Watkins Glen.
And it also looked like John Wood and maybe Stremme had some problems getting in and out of their pit stalls as well.
Yeah,
at the other end of pit road.
That's the hardest part about everything that happens when you pit. There's no room.
Here they are coming down pit road.
Oh man!
Now we know what happened.
Kobe Luck was also involved in the 50 car.
Yeah.
He was coming into his pit as David Green was leaving.
And that's strictly a mistake from the top of the box. You gotta have somebody up there calling that for you, because you're coming out of your pit stall trying to look in front of you. If there's somebody out there coming in the stall in front of you, basically you got to know.
Watch the NASCAR official hop out of the way.
I don't blame him.
Look at that. Yep. Good heads up.
When cars start colliding, you don't know where they're going.
No. Match for the 3,400-pound car.
No, sir. There's no lucky dog. It would have been the 43, but he brought out the caution, so he doesn't get it. Scott Pruitt, too fast exiting pit road.
Oh, no. Now that is a tough penalty today, because now he will have to start 39th. Oh, my goodness.
Goes to the tail end.
And he was kind of on that strategy where they had to pit under the caution there, so it was already deep.
Yeah, he was already deep. That's right.
Now the hole's getting deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, he just put the dirt in on top of it then.
Exactly. Throwing dirt on yourself.
So Vickers in the 5 car, the race leader, trying to save as much fuel as possible under this caution.
Yeah, they were close, probably going to halfway, and with this caution, it should help them. So, like I said earlier, you have to be lucky in road racing for your strategy to work out sometimes, and they were probably going to be close to making it, and now their chances are better.
29 of 82 laps complete. Brian Vickers, who had an outstanding run in the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard last Sunday. Out in front here in Watkins Glen. Out of turn 7. Green's out. Here we go. Watch turn 1, everybody.
Jeff Burton drives up on the inside of Jorge Getters in the 32 car.
And that's definitely one of your most vulnerable areas right there on restart, going into turn 1. It's kind of like a pit stop. It's your best chance to get somebody.
And watch the running order at the top of the screen. We will tell you Tony Stewart, the pole sitter, who stopped early in this race. A good strategy move, up to 11th. Michael Waltrip, 16th. Wally Dallenbach, 20th.
And Robbie Gordon, who made his pit stop in the 55 car, is up to the 7th position.
Dave.
21 car Jeff Burton running very well right now. They decided to stay out this time for obvious reasons, track position. But Jeff was saying the car was a little bit loose early on in the run. The car wanted to spin out, going around these right-hand turns. But the car really came to him at the end of the run. And so at this point, he doesn't want anything done to that car when they do decide to pit.
And to me, the guy to watch is Robbie Gordon. I mean, he's that group back there is still, to me, on the right strategy.
As Benny said, Gordon.
Uh-oh. Johnny Sauter has stopped on the racetrack. Window net is down.
And that's a bad spot. Full course caution.
And this really plays into the 5 and the 11, the 21, all those guys who hadn't pitted. I mean, these cautions just keep playing right into their hands.
Puts the net down to let everybody know he's okay. But the car continues to sit there. I'm thinking it must have blown up just to be sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times, Clint Boyer didn't qualify. Coming out of those last S's, the last turn of the S's up there, it's really easy to put your car from 3rd to 2nd gear, meaning to go to 4th gear, and that'll instantly blow it up.
Dave, what do you know?
Definitely a motor problem for Johnny Sauter. It blew up. Don't know the cause, although they did say to Johnny, when I finally tuned into his frequency, we still love you. So the driver may have taken some responsibility here, and then Johnny responded, talk about not your day. Remember that pit road penalty early, and now this.
It's easy to do.
Carlos Contreras in the 40 car is the lucky dog. Brian Vickers is the race leader in the 5 car. Marty's with his crew chief.
Let's chat with Jim Long. And boy, these cautions keep playing into your hand. How is that so? Explain the strategy.
Well, it looks like we can make it on one stop now, and them cautions just guaranteed it. And them guys can make it on another stop too and go a little bit farther, but they're going to have to stop again later on, and we should take the lead again. So I hope it all works out. We'll have to see. We got a long way to go.
So the theory being, by the time they stop, you'll already be out front, right?
Yeah, 10-4, 10-4.
All right, very happy with the chassis. Brian Vickers reporting to Jim Long, and seems like the strategy's working in their favor too.
Anytime the crew chief is smiling, that's a good sign.
Or he's nervous.
We're under caution here at Watkins Glen. Brian Vickers continues to lead Paul Menard, Jeff Burton, and company. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Brian Vickers is your race leader. We are under caution here at Watkins Glen. Transmission issues earlier for the 43 car of Ron Fellows. We're under caution for the 1 of Johnny Sauter. Pole sitter Tony Stewart rather. I was looking at Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart runs 9th. And where is Robbie Gordon up in 5th? And there's Wally, who's back in 19th. See if your radio's working yet, BP.
All right, let's check it out. Hey, Wally, BP, you got me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, your owner wants to talk to you.
Uh-oh.
How's that thing handling out there? Is it everything that you expected it to be, or is it looser, tighter? What is it?
Car's pretty neutral right now. It's just we're having some problems. This thing keeps jumping out of third gear. So pretty inconsistent when it does it or where it does it. But the car's not awfully bad. It starts out real tight, then it starts to neutral out. We'll see where it goes from here.
All right, well, we'll keep watching and make sure you have fun. We at least want to see you smile. We saw you try to get a drink, and that was not too pretty.
I know. That was pretty ugly. I think I got 4 or 5 sips, and that's about it. The rest is on the floor.
So, one more stop? Is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're trying to go for, yeah. Trying to go do this thing at one more stop. Hopefully put us in a good position, track position-wise.
Pretty good job there, trying to missing Carlos Contreras when he spun right in front of you.
I've been screwing up on the race starts. I keep letting these guys get to the outside, but that's not going to happen anymore.
Oh, we're watching the Carlos Contreras spin in the 40 car on tape, and did a good job. Missed him, Wally.
Well, like Kevin said, I need to have some fun here, so that would have been ended our day way too early, but I'm just glad he went the way I thought he was going to go.
Okay, play tough on these restarts. All right.
Wally Dallenbach, who didn't get any practice in that car, qualified it this morning, and it's an impound race. Had to race it after that.
Yeah, he said it's jumping out of gear there, and they had to change the transmission. They had the wrong gear ratio in second gear, so they had to change it. Obviously, something a little bit off there.
Ballpark Lucky Dog Award this time going to Carlos Contreras. We saw him spin. Now he's got his lap back, and what they're going to do is they're going to let the Lucky Dog pass the pace car when the field gets the one to go and come around and tag up at the rear of the field. Carlos is working on that right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Carlos knows what the Lucky Dog is. I mean, this is, I guess he ran Mexico, the race in Mexico City. I guess he learned down there.
They ran really well down there, Carlos and Jorge Getters. Jorge is actually in 4th place right now, so I mean, those guys, they're pretty good road racers.
Just looking at the running order, Vickers, Menard, Jeff Burton in 3rd, Getters. The top 4 have not pitted yet, but the guy running 5th, Robbie Gordon, has. Tomorrow we'll be right back here. NASCAR Next Cup Racing from Watkins Glen. Tony Stewart in off the win at the Brickyard. Let's see, he won here last year. He won last week at the Brickyard. He won in Sonoma.
He's won everything lately.
He's pretty 4-6 or some outrageous figure like that for Tony Stewart. So, and if he wins, who knows what the heck's going to happen next. So, join us tomorrow, NASCAR Next Cup Racing right here on NBC. Field coming to get the green. All kinds of different strategies playing out here.
You see the drivers weaving the cars back and forth. They're trying to clean the debris off the tires so that when they go down in turn 1 that first time, the car will just will turn.
Yeah, so there's so many spots to pick up debris here, so it's definitely important.
Marty, something before they go green?
Well, you see them cleaning the tires. They actually told Brian Vickers not to do that until the last half lap because that uses fuel. When you weave the car back and forth, you're going to kill your fuel mileage. They said, Brian, don't do that. Wait until the last half lap before we get the green before you start doing that.
The drivers listen to this.
Every drop counts. If you can get up close enough to draft the pace car, you need to do that too if you're that close on fuel.
Green's out at the Glen. The field charges toward turn 1.
That's where it gets exciting. Robbie Gordon and Dale Jarrett diving down there.
Jarrett in the 90 car right there inside of Ryan Newman. Jarrett has not stopped yet.
And Robbie Gordon was able to get by Jorge Getters, take over the 4th position.
I still think Robbie's in the catbird seat. He's already pitted. He pitted pretty conservatively and has come out in 4th place. So.
And his car is pretty darn fast.
His car is fast too. You got to have it all.
Robbie, an outstanding road course racer.
And this is Robbie's kind of style of racing. It's a short race. It's basically a sprint race, so you can get everything you can out of the car.
Wow, I was looking to the inside of Jeff Burton there. Jeff Burton in the 21. It's Burton looking back at Robbie Gordon.
Now Robbie Gordon, he didn't think he was going to pass Jeff Burton there. He just wanted to worry him a little bit.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll do that. Man, that's a aggressive move right there. You got to have a good car and be really good under braking to do that. Yeah, but you have to have a good car to do anything, but that's not one of your normal spots to pass.
Robbie Gordon gets a spot.
Now, Jeff Burton moved over so Jorge Getters could not get on the inside, but it didn't quite work because Getters in the 32 moves up on the inside of the 21.
That car's going everywhere back there.
Alan, how about Getters in the 32?
Well, Bill, a couple things about him. First of all, they're on the one-stop attempt strategy. Crew Chief Todd Losey says they're going to come in about lap 44 or 45 and be done for the race. The other thing is listening to his team radio. It's a bilingual radio. Jorge speaks excellent English. I've had a couple of conversations with him here at the racetrack, but the number of spotters that they use around the racetrack, well, some of them are members of the Braun Racing team from here in the U.S. One of them is his brother, Eduardo. So when he gets up through the S's, the clear comes in Spanish. And then the rest of the way around the racetrack, it's something I can actually understand.
You think they're saying clear, huh?
Yeah, but it's really neat to listen to.
That's teamwork right there.
Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick's other car.
How many cars you got in this race?
2 cars.
Okay.
Tony's and Wally's, but he's definitely coming back up through there. He's up to 6 now.
Yep.
So
up to 6th.
On
that
the
time
inside
by.
there.
Oh, it's going to be trouble down there. We've heard so many times the driver saying, we've got to keep the fenders on my car. And that's why Tony Stewart backed off there.
Yeah, this place is a lot like our mile-and-a-half racetracks that we go to. You have to keep the front fenders on the car to come up through the S's and not be tight.
Fenders are your friends.
Fenders are your friends. You have to have them to be able to have a chance to win.
Through the inner loop. Report that the 22 car is off the pace.
Yeah, Kenny Wallace, there he is.
That's too bad.
Are you running now?
That's up in the S's, right?
Something's wrong. I've done everything. There's no power, nothing. I've hit the kill switch. I've done everything. Now you switch on your steering wheel again. Not that. I've done everything. There's no power to nothing.
Yeah, you got to throw the caution, I guess.
That kill switch he's talking about, that's the automatic shutoff switch, right? You have a reset switch for that if you accidentally hit it?
Yeah, basically what it is, you have to just hit it again to turn it back on. But it's on your steering wheel, and if the throttle hangs or something goes wrong, you hit the button and it shuts the engine off. I've done that before at Bristol. Just hit the button and didn't know what was wrong and didn't figure it out until 2 laps later. And had to put the button.
Kenny 5th in the championship standings. Only 1 DNF so far this year. That was at Talladega.
And there he sits.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, when they finally push that car back to pit road, they're going to jack it up, check the battery. Also, they have a backup set of ignition boxes. They're talking about trying to plug those in as well. Now, you talked about the kill switch. Some teams, including Ryan Newman, they've actually installed a light on their dash when they hit the kill switch. When it's engaged, a light comes on. So what happened to Ryan Newman a couple years ago at Darlington? He lost 8 laps on pit road. That won't happen again to a number of drivers who've gone that route.
Matt, he was going to win that race, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Best car there that day, but the best car didn't go to victory lane.
Steve Grissom gets the lucky dog, the former series champion, the highest scored car not on the lead lap. Will get to come around, tag up to the rear of the field. Kenny Wallace just sits there. This is real for these drivers, these teams on this one-stop strategy.
It's playing right into their hands.
Sure is.
But you knew there was going to be a lot of cautions coming into this race. These guys hadn't been here in a while, and it's a short race, so everybody's pretty aggressive.
They want to show us something. Circle that third car in line there, BP.
Third car in line, you're talking about Ryan Newman?
Ryan Newman, right there.
That one?
See. They want us to watch this, so let's see what happens.
Okay. All right, he's going to try Getters. And Getters, I guess, didn't realize he was there. Oh, man, look at that job that Ryan did keeping control. Man.
That's worth another look.
That was great. That's definitely the dirt car days paying off there.
Wow. Okay, from Tony Stewart's on board.
Oh, he hit the curb.
Caution's out, bud. Caution's out.
39 hit the curb.
Yeah, 39 hit the curb. 32 never got into it.
Marty?
Yeah, BP, there's a funny conversation going on right now between Roy McCauley, the crew chief, and Ryan Newman. He said, hey, they just played the replay on TV. I didn't realize what a good driver you were. And Ryan said, thanks. Earlier, when after that happened, he radioed the crew and told the guy sorry. He said, I thought I had him cleared, but I got way too loose and barely hung on to it.
I think barely is a good word.
Yeah. Does he know he hit the curb? Do you think?
He probably just brushed it and unloaded the car there and just, freed it up enough to where it got loose, really loose.
Yeah. To cross you up a little bit there and bring it back?
Yeah, when you hit the curbs like that, like I say, it used to be that way up through the S's. It would do the same thing, but they kind of smoothed the curbs out. But did a great job saving it. See if he left any black marks there. I don't see any.
No.
What in the world? Jeff Burton he must be able to make it. Think he can make it the rest of the way? No.
I don't think so, Benny. That's a
They're really full.
Yeah.
He'd have to go 44 laps. Dave, you can see it.
And they were the ones that were going to come earliest under green. Their window opened earliest of all the guys on pit lane. But that was lap 39, so I'm not sure we've quite gotten there yet. He's going to take on 4 tires. He's going to go up on the air pressure on the rear tires because his car had a little trouble turning. Alan?
Well, here's Clint Boyer, second place in the championship in for 4 tires. I did not expect to see him until we got another few laps toward halfway. Maybe they've had enough caution laps, or maybe they think they're going to get enough caution laps to let him go the rest of the way. I'm going to check with Gil Martin, the crew chief, here in just a second.
All right, and we are working lap 39.
And I think what's happening here is they're putting 4 tires on. They're filling their car up with fuel. And then when they get in their window, they're going to gas and go because nobody else has put tires on yet. So they're just trying to save a little time for the next pit stop, I think.
All right, we'll see what happens. Under caution here at Watkins Glen, Brian Vickers has scored the race leader. But it's strategy and strength that are going to win this race. We'll see what happens. Brian Vickers is bringing the field out of turn 7, coming to get the green. Some guys will get the green. Some reports some guys might head to pit road. Strategy really starting to play out. Here we go. Green's out. They head for 1. Hang on, everybody.
Ryan Newman on the inside of Getters. Looks like he's going to take the spot.
4 wide behind them.
That was a great move by Truex.
Yeah, like I said earlier, that's definitely, you're vulnerable, but it's also your best spot to pass. And Robbie Gordon just wasn't quite close enough to get past him.
Alan? Clint Boyer topping off the fuel on the restart. Crew Chief Gil Martin just said to me, we're good to go to the finish. I said, how many laps of caution you need? He said, we'll get him.
I mean, he's planning on running 43 laps. He better get some caution laps.
He's going to have some cautions, but when you're back there in the back like he was, you can afford to take 2 more chances.
Robbie in the 55. Robbie Gordon looking at Menard in the 11. Number 6 and 7. Sorry, BP.
Interesting that Robbie Gordon in the 55 car, Paul in the 11 car, Paul Menard. Paul's dad, John Menard, his engine company builds the engines in the 55 car.
And he's using that now.
Yes, he is, to go by.
Robbie Gordon to 2nd.
I'm impressed with Brian Vickers, guys. He's done a great job staying out there.
That was Vickers asking how long till they pit.
If they're going to make it the rest of the way, they need to go to about 45, would be my guess. 45, 47.
This is Vickers' first road course race in the Busch Series. He leads. Let's try and give you a top 10 through the field. We'll watch and see when they pit. Maybe we'll find out. Snyder?
Well, Bill, you talked about this fuel strategy playing into Brian Vickers and Paul Menard's hands. They're pretty much now in the same sequence with everyone else. Vickers will pit at lap 45. His car is a little bit tight, but otherwise fine. He wants a little more forward grip.
Oh, trouble.
Reed Sorensen.
Yep. Wow.
Man, big time smoke on that car.
Halfway this time, and the caution comes out. Field gets the halfway signal, and the caution flag is out. Full course caution.
All right, now then, Snyder, when was the 5 car planning on pitting at lap 45?
Marty, you wait on that. We'll check with Alan.
Yeah, just Reed Sorensen came on the radio and said, load it up, boys. They're done. That's the 3rd place driver in points. Big loss today.
Huge. And that's a disappointing ride for Reed.
And he's trying to find some way off the racetrack.
Yeah, he wants to get it out of the way.
He missed the entrance to get off pit road.
Yeah, and I tell you, those guys,
and look,
they've had a tough time at it up here.
And right behind the car, I thought I saw some oil, a streak of oil, where he had lost some. Yeah. See that shiny stuff under there? Oil from underneath the 41 car.
So Sorensen 3rd in the championship standings. And Kenny Wallace 5th in the championship standings. Already had troubles today. The only 2 drivers that had 1 DNF.
And I tell you what, we were talking about this earlier. The split in the transmissions from 3rd to 2nd is a long ways. It's a lot more than normal. So you really have to wait a long time to get your downshifts in. So it could be some early downshifts and a lot of high RPM going from 3rd to 2nd.
And you're talking about the ratio, the split in the ratio, like the 3rd gear, 2nd gear would be a 160, 3rd gear would be a 125 or something.
Right, and I mean it's bigger than normal. I don't know exactly what the ratio is, but it's a lot bigger than normally here, and they're paying for it.
Kenny Wallace all the way back in 41st, the man we just talked about, 5th in the championship standings. He gets the lucky dog. Maybe he might be able to help himself. Right. Marty?
Well, we're talking about Brian Vickers, and he was going to be 4 laps from pitting, and they are not going to take the chance. I believe the 5 car is going to stay out. Maybe Martin Truex Jr. will come down pit road, however.
If it was me, guys, I'd pit, put my 4 tires on, get it full fuel,
and if you're going to play the strategy, now's the time to do it on the caution flag. If you can make it the rest of the way,
do as little as possible under the green.
Very interesting how this all will play out.
And you know, the amazing thing is, no one knows how it's going to play out.
All right, that's the best thing about road course racing is, you know, it's appreciated worldwide. NASCAR fans have adopted it, but it's so unique to watch. I'm sure it's a huge challenge to drive, but you never know what's going to happen until the end of the race.
Well, I mean, just look at all the strategies we have going on right now, and you don't know how many caution laps are going to fall, so you got some people gambling on that. You don't know if there's going to be a green-white checkered. You don't know what's going to go on.
And to add to the complications, there's a huge computer scoring error, which might confuse just about everybody right now.
Get it full, Randy. Full.
Here comes the 5. Alan, you got it? Alan, go ahead.
Well, Jorge Guetters, the 35-year-old who leads the domestic Mexican stock car series, is going to come in and make his 1 and hopefully for him only pit stop of the race. Crew Chief Todd Losey calling for 4 tires and, you guessed it, Hackett full of fuel. Michael Waltrip also in down here. Dave?
Paul Menard gives up 2nd position. They make a wedge adjustment on the car, needed more forward bite. They also ran through all the oil that Reed Sorensen left down on the track here on pit lane, but he ran through it and then hit his spots in the pit box. He's gone, Matt.
And the chassis adjustment, the wrench in the back window, completing that adjustment now. Going to pack the fuel cell full of fuel for Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 25. So the car was just too tight. Worse in the right-hand corners. The 90 beats him out. Marty?
A very last-second call for Brian Vickers and his team. They win the race off pit road. It was 4 tires, half pound out of all tires. Jim Long said, save fuel now. We're going to need some help.
So Brian Vickers off of pit road.
Trust me, he's going to need to save some fuel if that 5 car runs till the end of the race. And need some caution flags.
Under caution here at Watkins Glen. The NASCAR Busch Series, their 2nd road course race of the season. A long way to go, and lots of strange stuff still to happen. We're still under caution here at Watkins Glen with 43 laps complete. And a lot of interesting stuff happening, but Brian Vickers just came down pit road, and as Marty said, a late call. He dove onto pit road, and his guys gave him a good stop. Take a look at this.
All right, here it comes. Fellows, Jack's on the left side, taking a tear off the windshield.
You came around to the right sides as well. You have to do the pit stops in reverse here. A good stop for those guys. Marty, how'd they do?
Oh, Jim Long just crediting the team with a great stop. That was a very last-minute call on your guys' part. You really can't make it from here without caution, so why did you pit that time?
Well, we're back to playing cautions again. I was just too worried that the guys around me were going to play the same game, and the way the caution's been going, we just need a few cautions, and I think we can make it from here.
He's awfully deep in the field and a lot of cars to pass. He wants to get up there, too.
Yeah, well, we expected that, especially with them guys short pitting earlier, but they all got to stop. Every single one of them do. I think us and 11, probably the only two that probably could take a chance on making it right now. Maybe. I don't know.
Their original plan was to pit at lap 46, so clearly they had to pit about 6 laps earlier than they expected to.
And Marty, that drops Brian Vickers back to 19th in the running order.
But that's not that big of a deal. I mean, in road course racing, I mean, because all those guys are going to have to pit. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, Robbie Gordon.
Well, that's why you're up here. So.
Probably won't be able to overcome what just happened in the pits with his fuel mileage and not being able to pit.
Okay. So Robbie Gordon, who we thought was in a great spot and is actually the race leader, may not be.
Yeah, because so many guys pitted. I mean, from, Clint Boyers, they said he can go all the way. So from 18th back are pretty much done pitting.
Wow. And Boyer is 18th. Then it's Vickers, Nemechek in 20th. Ryan Newman in 21st. Menard, Truex Jr. in 23rd. Tony Stewart back in 24th. Dale Jarrett in 25th. Marty?
Well, Bill, Greg Owen's the man who makes the calls for Robbie Gordon. And how long till do you have to come down pit road?
We definitely have to make another stop. He's very, very happy with the way the car is driving. The Red Bull Chevrolet has been good all day. We're looking at probably another, I don't know, depending on how many cautions you think there's going to be, between 50 and 82, and we can't forget about the green, white checker. So we're looking at probably between 48, 49. We need another 6 laps here to make it.
Will this fuel mileage take you out of the shot for the win?
I hope not. He says he's fast enough to pass them all on the racetrack, but that's Robbie.
All right, he said that if they can make it to lap 50 or so, they do have enough fuel to make it to the end from there.
I don't think he's fast enough to pass them all on the racetrack.
Track position is hard to overcome.
That sure is.
Okay, here's the Aaron's pit summary, and believe it or not, this is good news for some of these guys. Brian Vickers was first on the racetrack. Now he's 19th, but in Harvick's opinion, that's a good thing.
But he beat all the other cars that pitted, and then all the cars from 19th back pitted.
Right.
And the question is, how many of those guys from 18th on back can make it?
Not all of them.
No.
No, not all of them.
And if it goes green flag the rest of the way, probably none of them.
And it could go green,
white, checker.
And the thing to remember is, even if Robbie does come in and pit, he's got to put 4 tires and gas on, so that's going to take a little bit longer. He's going to need a full tank of fuel. Most of these guys only need a splash of gas to make it.
Oh, boy. So Robbie Gordon's leading, but probably isn't winning right now.
I think.
We'll see what happens. Biffle behind him, then Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, Scott Pruitt, Keller, Stremme, Regan Smith, Barrett, Kovaluk. The top 10. Green's out. They're racing at the Glen.
There goes Casey Kane.
Oh, check Casey Kane. What a great run. He was able to get on Greg Biffle in a 66 car and take that second spot away.
You guys have done a really good job getting through turn 1 today. Up through the S's now. This is the fun part.
And fast. Probably 175 miles per hour when we get up to the inner loop, or the bus stop, as some people call it.
Can I tell you something else that we probably kind of overlooked here is the 21 car pitted and put 4 tires on before the rest of them, and he's in front of everybody else. He's in 11th right now.
Dave, what do you know about car 21?
Car 21 heard the 4 words that he wanted to hear from his crew chief, Ricky Byers. We can make it.
Wow. That's Jeff Burton right there in the 21 car. Somebody else normally drives that car, and oh, that'd be you.
Yeah, that'd be me. Yeah. So we took the weekend off from the Reese's Chevrolet and tried to concentrate on our Cup car. So glad to see him doing good.
So are the Reese's people?
Yes, they are.
What's that thing you eat in that car during the race?
Fast break.
There you go. Okay.
Reese's faster.
Yeah, gotcha. That goes without saying.
Jason Keller right in front of Jeff Burton. Regan Smith in 58. Travis Coughlin 77. Trying to get some laps in on this racetrack. And Stanton Barrett 36. White car.
Yeah, there's a mess behind them.
Yeah, we've got all these slower cars mixed in with all the faster cars behind them that have fresh tires. So, yeah, it's a little bit mixed up right now.
Boyer and Vickers each picked up one spot.
Oh, Tony almost making contact with Paul Menard. But he gets the position.
That's what you call guarding your turf. You know that Tony knows right now that he's racing Paul Menard. He's racing Ryan Newman, Martin Truex, all those guys around him for the win, in his opinion. So he's trying to do everything to keep him behind him.
It's David Strimian, 14, losing the spot to Jeff Burton.
Stewart was 24th last time by, but picking up positions on this lap. Waiting for Tony Stewart in that bunch. Brian Vickers up to 16th now. Got around Boyer, who's 17th. Stewart up to 21st.
Oh, Menard, the 11 car, trying to get underneath Tony Stewart. Couldn't quite make it.
It's Tony in the 33.
And Truex in that 8 car has visions of passing them both. There he goes by Menard.
And that's not something that you want to do up through the S's, run side by side.
I said he went by Menard. Cancel that.
Yeah, but he's still trying.
He's still trying. They're side by side. That's a good move through this. Great racing.
Yeah, it's great racing. It's just hard to do.
What's going to happen now?
They're going to have to settle it.
Because this is strictly one lane going into the inner loop.
Truex got him in the 8, Menard in the 11. That's Stacy Compton in the 59. This is going on back around 22nd or so.
Now they have position on Compton. Both cars go by him. There's Brent Sherman in that 10 car. Good run going.
To go. Some of these fuel windows are about to open up.
Joe Nemechek loses a spot. 2. Oh, he's got a car off in the. Oh, 2 or 3 cars.
4.
Is that Dale Jarrett that spun and.
Keep digging, don't call it shit.
Stanton Barrett in 36. Yes, that was Dale Jarrett that backed in the fence.
Dale Jarrett, Boris said, and somebody else. The front of it was smashed.
We're still under green.
It won't be for long.
Stanton Barrett in the 36.
Get that thing behind the wall down there. It would be all right.
Place to hide. Now the caution is out. Full course yellow. And Brian Vickers needed some caution laps. Is that what Jim Long was saying?
Well, I think everybody needed some caution laps at this point. That's right there with him. So I think everybody is probably happy about these caution. And we're probably banking on these caution laps.
Okay, there are 11 scoring loops around the track. Uh-oh. Carlos.
That's up in turn 10.
Yep.
I guess turn 6 it's called now.
Lap 47 wasn't a good one for a few people.
No, it wasn't.
11 scoring loops around this 2.45 mile track. The caution comes out. The field is frozen at the loop it most recently passed. Looking out Wally's windshield.
Oh, I see. Boris said got in the back of Dale Jarrett. Michael Waltrip watches this. Oh. He not only watches it, he's a participant. Yes.
Guess we know the answer to the guy whose hood we couldn't make out. That was all crumpled up there. And he was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. That's nothing that Michael Waltrip's doing.
Stanton Barrett, had he already stopped up there, or what do you think the situation was there?
Looks like he broke something. Yeah. And probably could have got down that access road right there and saved him from having a caution. But I don't imagine there's too many guys that are going to complain about these caution laps.
Just Robbie Gordon.
Yes.
Right.
Tony Stewart scored in 16th now. Look at Vickers up to 13th. Robbie Gordon leads. Marty Snyder adds.
And believe it or not, they are still not within their fuel window. He came on the radio to his crew chief, Greg Irwin, and said, well, now what do we do? And he said, I don't know. Let me get my Ouija board out. They are going to come down pit road anyway. 4 tires and fuel this time, hoping for some caution laps. Robbie said, well, I have to conserve fuel under green. Greg said, no, just go for it.
Were we talking earlier? You don't conserve stuff anymore?
Especially, I mean, really on either side. But in these Busch cars, I mean, there's so many different agendas. Robbie's agenda is to win the race and doesn't care about anything else. So, and there's a lot of guys in the Busch Series that are on that plan.
48 laps complete in the Zippo 200 here at Watkins Glen. Robbie Gordon is the race leader, but you look deeper in the field. Back in 6th place, Jeff Burton. Maybe back to Tony Stewart in 16th. Maybe back to Wally in 22nd.
Yeah, I really think from everything that we've been able to pay attention to up here, it looks like Jeff Burton is the first car.
Yeah. Looks like he has got things going his way.
So he's staying out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Alan just report that he could make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, he said he could make it all the way.
Now, you own that car, right?
I don't own that. That's Richard's car.
I mean, that's right. But that's the car you normally drive.
That's the car I normally drive on the weekends.
I wonder, do you think we should try that thing over there?
What, the 21 car?
Yeah. Do you know if you have that in there or not?
I don't know. Let's see.
You think he wouldn't mind, would he? Jump in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not speaking.
Okay. Let's see what happens here. Robbie Gordon coming around. That's Casey Kane right behind him. Off of 7 to the pit straight, and here come a bunch of boys down pit road.
Wow.
Alan?
Well, Casey Kane is going to come in from 2nd place, Bill. He's still on the tires he started the race on. Only time he's been on pit road so far all day was back at lap 24 when he took fuel only, reporting his car needs more front-end grip. They're going to change 4 tires, fill it up with fuel, and send him back out. Dave?
Greg Biffle's window was 52. They said we can go to 50 and stretch it. This is lap 49. It's going to be very close on fuel for the 66. 4 tires, chassis adjustment for a loose race car. Marty.
Robbie Gordon will have his work cut out for him. He'll have to make it back up through the field if he wants to win a Busch Series race for the 2nd year in a row. They asked him, how's the chassis? He said, perfect. Don't touch it. 4 tires tight, and that's it. Matt?
It was gas back on lap 19 for the 35 car. Dave?
66 had a loose lug nut on the right front. Greg backed it up, a whole pit stall. They reinstalled that lug nut on the right front tire and then sent him off pit road.
And you see that congestion at the exit of pit road. The stop sign was up because they had to let the field go by before the guys that pitted could join the field.
You see, that's the key. That's why it's such to stay on the racetrack is such a big deal, because when you make a pit stop, you cannot, all the cars on the racetrack have to go by before you can join the field. You can't blend in wherever you come out. All the cars go by you.
Alan?
Michael Waltrip's just taking a seat here on the guardrail, but they want us to move because they got a car coming through. So I'll talk while we walk for just a second. Come on back over this way. Hang that way. Oh, Goat, you're doing great. That's Goat's our cameraman. He's one of the best there is. What happened? Your onboard view, somebody hung a left in front of you.
I'm sure Jared and Boris tangled up or something, because I was just going to smoke around the outside, and all of a sudden they stopped. But the bestwestern.com Speed Reward Chevy is coming our way, so that's why we had to move. What a good car, though. Butch Hilton had the handling good. We were going to be all right. We were playing our strategy game and having a good time, Alan. I appreciate the way the car handled.
Sounded like you and Butch were kind of debating strategy for a while there.
Well, when you're a race car driver, you get a little bit animated sometimes, and I had a plan that I thought was perfect, and he didn't agree, and you know, that's the way racing goes. There's always more than one way to skin a cat, and the way they were going to do it was going to work out just fine. But I just happen to like my idea better. But I like it that I own the car, or Buffy does, and I allowed Butch to overrule me because the Best Western guys were doing a good job, and I like for them to have a plan and stick with it.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Michael Waltrip, done for today.
Okay, now let's try some. Let him try.
Okay, you try.
Okay, we're going to try and talk to Tony Stewart, but he doesn't know it. His car owner's going to jump in here.
Hey, Tony, this is Kevin up in the booth. How's it going, bud?
Well, let's see.
Hang on a second. Benny might have you transmitting on the wrong frequency.
Whoops, 1 minute. Let's try another channel. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Tony, Kevin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, bud.
Your car looks pretty good. What do you think?
I don't know, man. We're trying here. The 39's really good in front of us. The 5 car's good. We're just we're right in the middle of a pack of really, really good cars that are pretty even right now. So we just got to wait and see. Some of this traffic up front could help us or hurt us. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, man. Well, good luck. We'll be watching.
All right, pal. Thanks.
Think you surprised him?
Well, I knew I could overrule that one. You wanted to talk to the 21, and I didn't know if I could overrule on the 21. Okay. But I knew I could get in on the 33.
Yeah, that's a Kevin Harvick car. So we got the owner's permission before we checked in with the driver. Tony Stewart scored in 14th. Still under caution. A minute or so before we go back to green. We won't miss it. We'll step away for these messages and come back to the Glen. Still under caution. Benny, take us inside the NBC pit window here.
Greg Biffle came into the pits running third. He went out running in the 31st position. Watch this right front tire change coming around. Jack goes on the car. Tire comes off. No problem. Tire carrier throws it on. The inspector's in our way, but you're going to see a lug nut. See it? Hold, stop it. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Oh, whoop. Now roll it forward. See the lug nut fall off the car. Okay, go ahead, roll it. Goes down, hits the ground. The tire changer tightens. He reaches down to get the lug nut to put it on, but the jack man didn't realize that, let the car down. Signal to go. But someone told Biffle, you got to stop. He backs up, picks up the lug nut, puts it on, and tightens it up.
And that puts Greg Biffle back in 31st position. And Robbie Gordon, who was leading, looked to have a good plan going, is 25th.
Yeah, and that's all boils down to pit strategy, fuel mileage. And unfortunately, they just probably couldn't get the fuel mileage, is what it sounds like from all the information we've been given to pit with the other cars.
We're going to get the green this time by. Let's check in with Alan.
Back in the garage with Reed Sorensen, the third place driver in the championship, who is in his street clothes much sooner than you wanted to be. What happened?
Just had a motor go away on us. We haven't had really any problems all year. Motors have been real fast all year, so it's just part of racing, and you know, can't complain about it, that's for sure. And the car was pretty good. I was having a good time when we were holding our own out there. Very tough to pass out there, and people told me that before the race, and I realized it during the race right there. So I was having a good time and out there running with some guys that were you know, pretty good. So I was pretty happy with it, and we were on schedule with our pit stops, so everything was going to plan, and I just came to abrupt end there.
Yeah, we're getting close to the restart. Just a quick thought on the fact that it could cost you a lot of points today.
Yes, it could, but we got a lot more races, and we're just going to go try and win them.
All right, Reed, thanks. Good luck next week. Reed Sorensen, third place man in the championship starting the day. He's out.
Thank you, Alan. Good point about the championship standings in the NASCAR Busch Series. Jeff Burton's going to bring him to the green. Going to find out how good this car is out in front.
Look who's back in 5th spot. Oh, Shifty. Clint Boyer. Tony Stewart trying to get on the inside of the 39 of Newman. Did they make contact? Nope. Yep.
Yep.
They are now. And that's guarding your turf. Ryan knows that he's got to hold Tony off to what he feels is probably going to be one of the cars that he's got to beat.
He's got some tires, a tire rub there.
No, that's gasoline.
That's gasoline, is it?
Yes, wow. Gasoline coming out of the car. Now, if he thinks he can make it, he just lost about a half gallon of fuel. That could be a problem.
Yeah. Any gas at this point is an issue.
Boyer loses a spot to Newman.
He got Shifty.
Yeah, and Clint is definitely in a position to where, you know, these cars are probably a little bit faster, but, you know, they've played their pit strategy out to put themselves in a lot better position than they were when they started today.
And a little more road course experience.
Get up there around that group and you'll definitely learn something.
Jeff Burton leads in the 21. Travis Quapple is second. Tyler Walker third.
Brian Vickers just took over that third spot in the 5 car.
Sure did.
And you saw him put his hand out the window and kind of give him a wave there just to thank him for giving him some room.
The 21 of Burton, the 77 of Quapple, and the 38 of Walker, all pitted on lap 38. We're working lap 53. 30 to go. That's a long way, man. That's a long way. Even if you do get some caution laps thrown in there.
You think Tony Stewart, that contact was messed the fender up enough to the fact that he looks like he might be slowing down a little bit, Kevin?
Yeah, he is slowing down a little bit. You can see the left front fender on that car is caved in right at the top of the fender right there where they made contact. So you can see it really good right there. It's kind of V'd in, but it definitely won't help it.
Truex behind him in the 8. Going in the 33. Ryan Newman had the fastest lap last time by.
His car is fast, and you heard Tony talk about it when we talked to him on the radio. His car is definitely fast, and see him going underneath somebody else there, Tyler Walker. So Truex coming right with him.
The 8 will try and take the 38 on the pit stretch. For more on Ryan Newman, we check in with Marty.
Well, we saw that fuel pouring out, Bill, and this being a fuel mileage race, obviously we would be a little bit concerned. Roy McCauley, the crew chief for Ryan Newman, not so concerned. He said we packed it full, and that fuel, that caution the last time was very long. Meantime, Tony Stewart, the man he made contact with earlier, the right front fender damage, they did not. He's not said a word about the fender damage. I just checked with crew chief Mark Tudor. He said, I'm not worried about it at all. Tony will drive through it.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but that gas, I'd be worried about that gas coming out. As close as everybody is on gas, I think it's an issue.
And Newman's fast. I mean, that car is good.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the tough part is when you have see Vickers really wide there. When you have a good car and it comes down to a fuel mileage race and you're running the top 5, top 10 all day and you run out of gas or something and you wind up with a 30th place finish, that's pretty frustrating. But there's going to be a couple of them that happens to today.
Tony Stewart looking at Travis Kvapil. We check in on the 77 with Dave.
We haven't talked about him a lot today, Bill, but the 77 last pitted on lap 37, and they hope they last pitted on lap 37. They're going to try to go all the way in that 77 car. Shane Wilson, the crew chief, told me they need just a little bit more caution, but they don't mind coming in and topping off if they had to. Today was about getting Travis Kvapil road course experience. Tomorrow is the big race, the Nextel Cup race. So they've accomplished one of their goals. Now they want to try to conserve fuel and make it to the end here and maybe get a top 10 finish out of it.
Solid run for him so far.
Yeah, and the heck with it. If you're close, you might as well go for it.
Oh, sure.
They don't have anything to lose, but you know, that's good that he's getting some seat time, and a lot of guys are getting some seat time today.
Stewart looking inside of the 77 into the inner loop.
I hope he wasn't on the inside. If he was, we had a wreck.
He used everything up there, all the curbs and everything Tony did, but Travis gave him just enough room to get by.
Now Truex trying to make the move. Oh, Travis.
Oh, some contact.
Oh, look at the grill. The grill on the 8 is caved in.
Yeah, a little hand out the window there, too. Paul Menard in the 11.
I don't know if that's ductwork hanging down or not, but if it is, it'll be an issue with the cooling of that thing. To wait and see what it looks like there.
You don't want to get that messed up, do you?
No, that's as important as your fender.
Tell you what, that 77 car gets down in the corner, but this time Truex gets down to just a little bit better. Oof. Truex gets by, Menard gets by.
This is for 5th.
Bill, that's the radio traffic on the 18. They were asking the spotters to check the nose on the 8 car to see if it had any damage. They radioed that it's fine. They asked Martin about the water temperatures, and they have not shot up so far. So so far, so good.
Well, they can say, the spotters can say it's fine if they want, but we can see that it's not just fine.
Yeah, and luckily that part of the grill is usually untaped, so it's not like poking a hole in the headlight or something, but yeah, it looks like it'll be okay. I mean, there's nothing that's not got holes in it blocking the shroud and everything. Looks fine.
The screen wire has been knocked up. The only thing, it would let some debris go inside, but that's probably not a big problem.
No, as long as there's enough room to get air through there, he'll be fine.
And now his crew doesn't need to ask the spotters because they just saw it for themselves, didn't they?
All looks good. I just saw it on TV. All clear.
And there you hear him confirm it Bet they just saw it on TV.
That TV's a marvelous thing, isn't it? Jeff Burton continues to lead. Robbie Gordon has worked his way from 25th to 16th.
It's not bad. If he gets he's going to need. He's going to need a caution.
Now he wants a caution.
Now he needs a caution or two. I tell you, Robbie is one of the best people at passing people under braking. He is so good under braking, no matter if it's a Cup car, Busch car, his car, Richard's car, whosever car it is, he can carry the car on a road course.
There he comes. There he goes. 55 car just has gotten by J.J. Yaley in 18.
Going to get a couple more here in a second, Marty.
That car great for Robbie Gordon. He had his ears pinned back, according to the team, trying to make his way to the front. They asked him how the chassis was. He said, I wouldn't change a thing on it. We just need to get some track position. That's our biggest thing. We got a lot of cars to pass.
Tell you what, he's passing on the outside.
Cross start finish down toward turn 1. Robbie Gordon up to 14.
That was Ashton Lewis that he just passed, and J.J. Yaley going by the 18, going by Ashton Lewis.
So his next victim would be Shifty, maybe?
It would be him.
Yeah, this would be a good car for Clint to follow, since he didn't keep pace with the other guys. But Clint's found a nice little hole there.
Okay, so that's going on. Back inside the top 15. Robbie Gordon on the move. Jeff Burton is your race leader. These guys head for the inner loop.
Another guy that's doing good is J.J. Yaley.
Yep.
He's followed right up through there.
There's Burton, the race leader. Let's see if we can get you through the top 10 or so through the field here. Dave?
And that will be Jeff Burton, your leader. Remember, he heard the words, "We can make it," early on, right after he pitted. So early on, the prognosticators and the fuel calculators were telling Jeff, you can take it to the end. Out front in clean air, that 21 car is running great. Marty.
Meanwhile, Brian Vickers having a well overrun. They told him on the radio a moment ago, race that 39. That's who you need to worry about for the win. I think you're faster than the 21. Fuel right now, not an issue. For Ryan Newman, the car, very good. He has 4 spotters checking him out around this racetrack. They made some contact earlier, but very happy with the chassis right now for Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart, the car very good. They asked him about the fender damage. He said, don't worry about it. Everything is fine. Moving their way to the front for Tony Stewart. He's a little tight in the left-handers, but he's very good in the right-handed turns for Tony Stewart. Martin Truex Jr., they've checked about the water temperatures. Everything fine, everything A-OK. Chassis-wise, he just wants a little more grip, but everything's fine. Dave?
Paul Menard got a wedge adjustment on his car in the last stop, and afterwards, crew chief Danny Stillman said, guys, give me the best fuel reading ever. Well, I asked him a moment ago if they got it, and was it positive? They said yes. The 11 car will be good on fuel to the end. The 77 car of Travis Kvapil, they can go as well. We talked about him getting laps on this track. Again, they've accomplished that goal. They hope they can make it to the end. Marty?
Dave, remember earlier in the race, Joe Nemechek had a carburetor problem. They have now fixed that. They found their way in the top 10. He said the car working very well. Chassis-wise, we're fine. Just that carburetor problem earlier really hurt us. He's trying to go around the 77 car. Matt?
Tyler Walker, the 38 car, having an impressive run. Currently runs in the 9th position. Now he says the car is a little on the loose side, but okay, this team feels like from their calculations, they can make it all the way. Meanwhile, the 64, Jamie McMurray, a lot of conversation back and forth between he and owner Rusty Wallace about air pressures. They started out the race with something that Jamie learned here during testing, but they did go down on air pressure. Says the car is much better because of that. Alan?
Very nice drive for Jorge Getters in his 3rd NASCAR Busch Series start out of Mexico City, running in 11th place right now. These the guys that tried to make it a one-stop race. They pitted at lap number 42 and look to try and go the rest of the way on fuel, Dave.
That's the same lap that Carl Edwards pitted. I just checked in their pit. Crew chief Brad Parrott told me they're good on fuel, and the car, G-R-E-A-T, great for Carl Edwards. He's passing cars now, guys.
Did you see that move that Getters made going in the inner loop?
Yeah, there's a big hole right there, and if you look back at the right front fender, it's knocked up and knocked out.
Yeah, I think he got in that hole.
Burton leads. Vickers looking at him. As you look at Vickers, you know, you try and keep an eye on Robbie Gordon here. what do we figure? He's like 12 positions in 8 laps or something.
Yeah, he's definitely on the move. I know the further up he gets, the harder they're going to be to pass.
Right, but he definitely needs a caution to bunch up the field.
Oh yeah, he's got no chance without a caution.
And Kevin, your car with Tony Stewart, the last few times has been the fastest car. This first 4 cars, he's back up to speed again.
Yeah, he ran the fastest lap that time by, so he's always one of those guys that the longer it goes, the better off he's going to be, and always, maintains his pace a lot better than most people. So he's definitely looking good.
Stewart in the 33, looking at Newman in the 39. On board with Tony Stewart. Winner at the Brickyard last Sunday, and still sky high. That's a pretty neat feeling winning that Brickyard race.
Yeah, winning the Brickyard is the best, one of the best feelings I've ever experienced in my life. And I didn't grow up there as Tony did, and for him, I told Todd Barrier this morning that he probably could have won that race and flipped over in every other race and still be the happiest guy in the garage. So it's it means a lot to a lot of people, but growing up there, it means a lot to him.
He told me Monday was the greatest day of his life. I said, Tony, now that's a lot. He said, I'm telling you, the greatest day of my life.
The year I won, he called me and left me a message, and I can't tell you exactly what he said, but basically it was, dang it.
Why wasn't it me?
Why wasn't it me? And, he's been so close.
Tyler Walker. Still under green. He's trying to get it refired. This is down in turn 1. It's the new runoff area a year ago. Asking if it's engine or transmission. He's got it. Now, a year ago, he would have been in the kitty litter down there.
Yeah, we would have had a caution right there, but there's a lot of skid marks out there. He's not the only one that's been out there.
And Tyler Walker gave up the 8th position with a spin down in turn 1.
Yeah, he's not the first guy or the last guy this weekend to be down there. Vickers all over Burton. Then Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart. Looking back at Vickers, 20 to go. Vickers has been good, but so has that 21 car.
Yeah, I mean, if the 21's got enough gas, which they say they do, they definitely had the right strategy. So that's worked out well for them.
Now the backstretch, headed for the inner loop. These guys running single file are definitely putting some space on the rest of the field.
Yeah, Mark
Truex 6 seconds behind these top 4.
I'm not so sure that grill opening didn't affect the handling of his car a little bit. Where probably made it tight. Just it's just not as efficient as it was before.
Vickers thinking about it, still thinking about it, but not quite there. Boy, it has been a tough season for Jeff Burton in the Nextel Cup Series.
Yeah, they've ran well. Yep. For the most part, just had terrible luck. He's it seems like anytime there's a wreck or somebody that runs over the smallest thing on the racetrack, it seems like Jeff's been the unfortunate one to have had been the one to receive it. So they've been unlucky, and he's been a great teammate. He's brought a whole different aspect to RCR and given me everything I could ask for out of a teammate. So we've tried to do the same back.
And he's fun to talk to.
Yeah.
He's so knowledgeable and just loves to talk racing and the business of the sport.
Yeah, he knows what's going on. So it's definitely a lot of fun to have him a part of the team, and he's not short on his opinion, and that's good. I like that.
Dave, what about the 21 car?
Well, just thinking about his season this year in Nextel Cup, you mentioned not being that great, but this Busch Series racing in this car has been a bit of a pick-me-up. Remember that 2nd place finish at Bristol, and then a 5th place finish followed up a few weeks later at Darlington. So this has been the bright spot for Jeff. Not running very many races for Richard Childress in this Busch car, but when he does, runs very, very well.
Hey, Dave, if he'd been a little more aggressive, he could have won that Bristol race, don't you think?
Yeah, if he'd have knocked certain someone out of the way. Kevin.
Yeah, that's for all the people at Reese's, that was probably as good a promotion as you could do. We spent a couple days up in New York, and to have the peanut butter and the chocolate brands, Reese's peanut butter and chocolate lovers promotion, so it worked out good.
Looks like Wally, your dialing back gets slow down the backstretch. Was that down the?
It's stuck in gear. He, he was talking about it popping out of gear earlier. So, and you saw him reach over for the transmission handle there, and it didn't move. So that's not a good sign.
So he's waving to the cars behind him.
Yeah, he's got his hand out the window, just making sure that everybody behind him knows he's off the pace, and see him pulling reaching down.
Stuck in 2 gears, Wally. Get some jack stands, guys.
3rd gear feels like.
What happens is sometimes when you go from 2nd to 3rd or 3rd to 2nd, it gets stuck in between the gates, and then it gets lodged in there, and you can't get it out.
Well, that's too bad for him. Again, didn't get any laps in practice. Put up a great lap in qualifying, his only lap that he got before the race. He's working his way toward the top 20, but not to be today. Jeff Burton leads over Brian Vickers and Ryan Newman, Marty.
And Bill, for much of this run, Brian Vickers thought Jeff Burton had to make another pit stop. They just informed him he does not. He can make it on fuel. Brian trying to step it up a little bit. Jim Long told him, do not worry about fuel in our car. Meanwhile, they told the car of Ryan Newman, we do have to worry about fuel. Earlier, he said, I'll start lifting earlier going into the corners. I'll save you a little bit with about 15 to go. I'm going to open it up. And they said, that sounds fine to us.
That'll be fun to watch.
And Ryan Newman, we saw the fuel come out of the back of this car. I mean, I think that in the 2 or 3 laps that he lost fuel, he had to lose at least a gallon, and that's got to be 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't coming out of the overflow. It was coming out of the dry brake. So, I mean, he lost quite a bit of gas there, and hopefully it doesn't affect it towards the end of the race here, but I have a feeling if it runs green, it will.
It's like Ashton Lewis is also off the pace.
Matt?
Bill, he entered Watkins Glen 9th in the championship stand. He's going to take a hit today. He came on the radio a few laps ago and thought he was experiencing some motor issues. Now he just came on the radio and said, I have broken the gearbox. We are done. They're taking the car to the garage.
New leader, Brian Vickers.
Takes that 5 car to the front.
That was a strong move under braking, too. Thing got in there nice and flat. Didn't smoke the tires or anything, and made a good move.
And you see that, and if you're Ryan Newman, you smell your opportunity now, right?
Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to get by the 21 car if he's going to keep up with the 5.
And Tony Stewart back and forth. Now, he saw the 5 car get by the 21. Now he realizes if he's going to win this race, he's got to really step it up.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little bit tight or loose. I don't know which way it's going, but he's definitely lost just a little bit of ground. But
10 car, Brent Sherman.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Oh, boy. Look out down there. Yeah, Tony's car has not been the same since he got together with Newman.
Yeah, ever since the contact, it looks like it's been just a little bit more of a handful.
So Brian Vickers brings him back across the start-finish. 15 to go.
Who would have thought at the start of the day that Brian Vickers would be out in front of this race? Yeah. I mean, everybody was talking about Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman and all these road race guys. Here he is, just a few laps from the end of the race, 15 to go here, and leading the race, pulling away.
Robbie Gordon has worked his way back up to 8th. But if he doesn't get a caution, he's not going to sniff the lead.
And Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. He is consistently the fastest car. But he's 12.5 seconds behind this group of cars. And the only way to narrow that gap is a caution flag.
Yeah, and he was 0.6 of a second. Basically faster than the leader that lap.
Wow. Brian Vickers leads. 21 is second. We check in on Jeff Burton with Dave.
And Jeff's been sort of murmuring something all day that he really just confirmed after he got passed by Brian Vickers in the very hard braking turn number 1, and that is that he has sort of a lack of brakes today. It's been a weak spot for him. He's mentioned it. The car really came to life handling-wise when they added air pressure to both rear tires midway through the race the last time they stopped, but the brakes have been the issue for Burton today.
And you do use a tremendous amount of brakes at this racetrack because you're traveling at such a high rate of speed and got to slow it down so dramatically.
Yeah, going into this turn 1 right here, I mean, it's downhill. You're running 160 miles an hour, and and you basically, you know, have to go down to second gear. So there in the inner loop are heavy, heavy, heavy braking.
I'll tell you this morning during Busch qualifying, Brian Vickers was out on the grid talking to Boris Said and Scott Pruitt, and that's exactly what they were talking about, braking and wheel hop.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to talk to somebody, those are two of the best. We got a spin coming off last corner here, the 20 car.
Yes, we do. Denny Hamlin in traffic trying to get it pointed in the right direction.
And he does.
And we stay green. Dave?
Might not have been of Denny's own doing. He mentioned he might have gotten a little contact from the 14 car.
Well, I saw some damage in the rear of the car. Well, looks like the back on the right rear, just a little bit of a dent.
It doesn't take much. You know, these cars are on the edge anyway, and any little help will put you around. Ryan Newman pressuring Jeff Burton here.
Big time.
Yep, this is for a second. There he goes.
Wow. Baby.
And Tony Stewart's going to try and follow. Wow.
Tony almost had a dirt track and get down in turn one.
No brake, guys. I can't go in the corner like I need to. Simple. Just do the best you can, man. We'll be fine here.
That's Jeff Burton talking about the braking problem that Dave had alluded to.
And you saw the back of Tony's car jump out right there, and when he's under heavy braking like that, these things have a lot of rear braking in them, and he probably just got a little bit of wheel hop, and luckily he saved it.
So Ryan Newman in his first Busch Series road course race up to second. He has 5 top 10 finishes in 7 of his Cup road races. He was second here back in 2002. Boy, Vickers is gone.
Yeah, he's definitely pulled out to a lead there.
2.5 over Ryan Newman.
See if we can find out what happened with the 20 car. It's Hamlin, and that's the 14 behind him, and they're going into the turn.
Just barely touched him, but it's not the best place to pass right there. And
whoa!
Unfortunately, he wasn't really far enough to make that pass.
Well, Brian Vickers had the outstanding run at the Brickyard a week ago, 3rd in the All-State 400. Now a strong run here in the Busch Series on a road course.
Yeah, and right now he's hoping that there's no cautions because the 2 guys behind him are really good getting into turn 1, it looks like.
Marty?
Yeah, and Brian talked to me this morning about why to run this road course race. He said, I volunteered to run this road course race because I need experience. You know, we were going to run the race anyway, and I said, let me drive. I would love to get some experience. Didn't get to test here like a lot of other teams did. He said, this race will really provide some information for me tomorrow. He said, I don't feel like I'm a very good road course racer. He said, I just need some experience on how to shift, how to do things like that. And actually, this is his first ever Busch Series road course race, being a former Busch Series champion. You would think he'd have run one, but they didn't run road course races back when he was in the Busch Series, and obviously the experience paying off, leading with 12 to go, Bill.
You're not kidding.
Well, and it's great that he can win. Yes, it is great that he can win, but the experience is for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, what he's getting right now is whether he wins or loses is the most valuable thing.
Ryan Newman had the fastest lap that time by.
Other than Robbie Gordon.
Oh, you're right. I didn't wait long enough, did I?
No.
Yeah. That shows how spread out they are.
Yeah.
You got to wait about 11.5 seconds till Robbie
yes,
Gordon jumps by.
Right. Robbie in 7th. There's Newman. These guys racing today already, thinking about tomorrow. It's Steve Grissom.
Marty, looks like this 39 might be gaining just a little bit on the 5.
A little bit every lap, and I talked to Roy McCauley, the crew chief, about that. I said, he looks like he's gaining on him. He said, oh, yeah, he's gaining on him. I just don't know if we have enough time. He said, Ryan, extremely happy with the chassis, so do they have enough time to catch the 5 cars? The question, 11 laps? I don't know, BP.
I don't either.
And now it's 10. Going by in a hurry here at the Glen. About a 2-hour rain delay.
He gained 0.6 of a second that lap, so if he keeps gaining that much, he'll catch him.
Yes, he will.
A Live NBC Sports coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series here at Watkins Glen. We're back here tomorrow for the Nextel Cup Series. Menard in 6th, Robbie Gordon in 7th. You guys have been together for a long time today, it seems like.
I'm impressed with how much ground Robbie Gordon has made up. I would have never thought that he made that much up. I mean, he's ready to pass 6th.
Yep. Restarted 25th. Made it all up under green. He's chasing Menard through the inner loop. Dave?
And Paul's having a pretty good run. Every lap he hears a voice very familiar to him as he, whoa, little bobble right there. This may be Gordon's opportunity coming off of this corner. But every lap he hears his dad's voice because his dad is here. Millionaire John Menard is spotting for his son in the S's today.
Hey, here you need 3 or 4 spotters, so whoever shows up, you put them to work.
This is 6. Now to turn 7. Right-hander onto the pit stretch. Across the start-finish line. 9 to go for those guys. Vickers continues to lead. Robbie's going to look inside right here and not get there. Marty.
Yeah, Bill, they're talking on the radio, and when they tell Robbie every lap, they talk in terms of how much he gained on the leaders that lap. That was another second. That was 6/10. That's how they're giving Robbie his lap times. And obviously, he's driving his heart out right now, trying to get to the front. And very impressive run after he took on those tires to get back up to 7th and trying to take 6th. That's quite an impressive rally by Robbie Gordon.
You're not kidding.
Well, I mean, he's got the fastest car, but
by far.
I mean, it's not even close to anybody else. I mean, how much faster it is, but we talked about it time and time again before the race started. Fuel mileage, pit strategy, or what it all comes down to. And even if you have a fast car, you can't win unless you have that.
So I got a question. How good's your fuel mileage in that 29 car?
Well, you know, we made 3 or 4 laps in practice, and that's all we did. But we did do a fuel mileage reading, and it looked better than it had in the at Sears Point. So hopefully we've made an improvement there.
Marty, you got some more?
Yeah, Bill, I was just going to say this is good practice for Robbie for tomorrow, because in tomorrow's race he starts, what, 39th or something like that? And that's what he just said on the radio to the crew. He said, well, at least I'm getting ready for tomorrow doing this.
He's got him a position.
He's got him. All right, Robbie Gordon goes up to the 6th position.
And Robbie Gordon would have had a much better starting spot. But qualifying rained out. With just a handful of cars remaining earlier today, so the field was set by the rule book. And that's why Robbie's in the back. This is for the lead.
Ryan Newman has brought that 39 car right up behind Brian Vickers. Just a couple of car lengths behind him.
Hey, Marty. I think they might have enough laps.
I think they might have enough laps to catch him. Do they have enough fuel now is the question.
That's what I'm wondering. Does the 39 have enough fuel?
And how wide can Brian Vickers make that car?
Oh, on the outside?
Wow.
On the outside?
Ryan Newman on the outside of Vickers for the lead at start-finish.
Wow.
I can't believe the 5 let him go around that easy for the lead.
Trouble.
Matt Kobiluck, the 50 car, is back, and the caution flag is out.
Full course caution. Robbie Gordon, 6th last time by.
Uh-oh, those boys got trouble now.
Yes, they do.
Trouble just walked in.
Oh, and wow, Tyler Walker.
And that's a hard hit right there.
Yes, it is.
Now, Robbie Gordon is not going to have many laps to get by these guys.
You're right, because it's going to take a while to
clean up this mess.
You can see Tyler moving around in the car.
Never see Kobiluck, the red nose, and
wow,
man. That was not a very good place to try to pass, was it?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, he just.
I'm not sure he was trying to pass. I think the closing speed, he just didn't.
He just clobbered him.
Yep. That's in the S's, right?
Yeah.
See Tyler Walker.
Wind up with the front too many times like that, and you'll think twice about doing things in the wrong spot.
Kobiluck back to pit road. Tyler Walker will head for the infield care center here at the Glen.
Okay.
So the pace car has the field. Ryan Newman has the lead. And Marty has more.
And he has the car, obviously the fast car, but do you have the fuel, Roy McCauley?
Well, the Autel Dodge has been really good today. Ryan has done a superior job. I just can't say enough about him. We are going to be close, but this yellow certainly is helping our situation. And like I say, we got to gamble a little bit here and there. It's just a question of whether we're holding a pair of sixes or a pair of aces.
Yeah, and I would leave it to this team to talk about a little poker action. And Ryan came on the radio and said the car is really good, guys. Dave?
With Rick Viers now, crew chief for the 21 car, does he have enough fuel? Does he have enough brakes to do anything with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close on fuel, but we believe we can make it. He says there's a little bit of issue with the brakes. He couldn't use them as hard as he'd like to right now. But once we get everything cooled off here and get a run on these guys, I think we've got good chances as anybody.
And Jeff Burton, with the experience, might be the hand that they can play. Speaking of poker, Marty, back to you.
And let's talk to Greg Irwin, crew chief for Robbie Gordon. Well, this is what you've been waiting for, the caution. How many cars are you going to try to pass in turn one on the restart?
One or two.
Or two, right? And what's he said about the car recently?
Hasn't said a word about the car. Obviously, fuel mileage is a concern. We knew it going in, but the thing's staying together. The brakes are staying on it. Car's pretty good.
And obviously very fast. Does this get you to the good on the fuel, Greg?
I'm sorry, say.
Does this get you to the good on the fuel?
Oh, we were to the good if it stayed green.
All right, Robbie Gordon sitting in 6th, and that's the car you might want to watch on this restart.
76 laps are complete. The scheduled distance, 82. But there's always the possibility of green, white checkers.
That's right. And cautions, like you guys always talk, cautions breed cautions.
That's exactly right. You have a caution flag to bunch these cars up, and just a few laps to go, somebody's going to try to pass somebody, make contact. Pretty soon you got two cars in a wreck, and they got to throw the caution flag.
Right.
And let's see, the only guy in the top 6 running for championship points is Martin Truex in 5th, right? Yes. So Robbie's looking to get around him, probably be able to get around Burton because Burton has the brake problem.
Right.
And then the race begins.
I would say if Burton's having a brake problem, it'd be a good possibility that the 8 will try to get inside the 21, knowing that he's vulnerable down there under braking.
Okay, so turn 1 should be a lot of fun when they put it back under brake.
Hopefully they don't test out the new concrete or the new asphalt.
Yes.
Kenny Wallace is back on the racetrack.
Yeah.
What caused that car to stall back there that time?
Brian Vickers runs 2nd, coming off the big run at the Brickyard a year ago. A week ago, Marty.
Yeah, good run a week ago for Brian Vickers, and good run here today, but can you get back by Ryan Newman's the question.
Yeah, he said he drove it in a little too deep there, and he got beside him, last time. I got faith in Brian. He's been doing an awesome job. I mean, all the guys on the Lowe's team have been doing great. Great pit stops. I mean, we've been doing good all day. I got faith in him. He's going to get around him.
How worried are you about Robbie Gordon behind you, though? He's got an awfully fast car.
He's got to get around us, man. That's the way to look at it.
All right, he's got to get around the 5 car before he gets to the front. That's Robbie Gordon. Good day for Brian Vickers, though. Even a top 5, top 10, whatever, it's a good day for the 5 team.
Thanks, Marty. Ryan Newman has won Busch Series win back at Michigan in 2001, trying to become the 7th driver to win here in the Busch Series. And here's how Ryan Newman got the lead.
On the outside up in turn, what do you want to call it? Turn 7, we'll call it. Goes by on the outside, and we see the 5 car jump back on the gas. We got a little bit loose and had to back up a little bit.
That's our ExxonMobil Command performance of the race. Ryan Newman taking the lead late here at Watkins Glen.
Okay.
The field under caution.
My guess is we're going to see the green flag with about 4 laps to go. And who knows what's going to happen? I don't have a clue.
I don't either. It's so unpredictable at this point. You got Newman close on gas. I'm sure the 33 is close on gas. The 21, the 5 says they're good on gas, and the 55 sitting back there a half second faster than the whole field. So it should be fun to watch.
We're under caution for a wicked crash between Matt Kobaluk and Tyler Walker. And Kobaluk got his car back to pit road, and we saw Walker get out of his car. remains under the caution flag here at the Glen. Got a 2-hour rain delay. Ran 17 laps under the green and yellow. Then the yellow was withdrawn. They ran basically a lap before a handful of the leaders jumped onto pit road. Since lap 18, it has been a chess game.
When do they give the signal to the drivers that they're going to throw the green flag? On the backstretch?
Going into the inner loop, yes.
Okay. I assume that next time, I'm hopeful that next time by we'll see the
green. So is Robbie Gordon.
That'll set us up for 4 laps of green if they get it this time by.
Again, if this race reaches its scheduled conclusion under caution, NASCAR will make one attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Marty?
We've been talking a lot about Robbie Gordon. Let's not count out Tony Stewart. He sits in third. So can you guys get up there and pass 2 cars and win this thing?
Well, I mean, that's always a challenge. That's what racing's about. But, you know, the Old Spice Chevrolet Monte Carlo is really good. We've been conserving fuel for the last few laps, and we are so close. It is just, I mean, it is unbelievably close. So, I mean, we're going to let him go, and whatever happens, happens. You know, the boss told us up there he had to win. That's what we did. We're going to go for it, boss.
Yeah, the boss, you got him in trouble earlier, Kev. You told him to go for the win, right? So you cool with that decision?
Well, I'd rather.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I'd rather see
who wants to run 30th or whatever. Let's go. Let's try to win the race. Let's go at it.
All right, the boss said that he endorses your decision. Good job, Mark. So they're going to go for it. Very tight on fuel. Tony said that the right front fender damage has really not been an issue during this run. He came on the radio, talked about it during caution, but they are a little bit concerned about fuel in your car, Mr. Harvick, the 33.
That's okay.
Well, you got Tony Stewart his only Busch Series win, right?
Yeah, he
Daytona?
did a good job at Daytona and won the race. And
that could be why he was kind of laying back from those guys just a little bit ago, is just trying to save a little fuel, let it drift in the corner, not jumping on the throttle, hoping that the only way that he could win the race would finish the race on fuel, and hoping that we'd get a caution flag, which he did. So we'll see. He might have something for him.
Tomorrow, Tony will be going for his 5th road course win in the Nextel Cup Series, his 3rd straight. The Nextel Cup stars hit the road course here at Watkins Glen. Thanks for hanging around with us all day today.
No problem.
That's a long day for you there.
Yeah, you guys definitely standing up here. Hard
well,
on the back.
Denny Hamlin is stalled up in the S's.
Stop for directions or something in the S's.
Might get him another lap of caution.
They want you to go back to the grass if you can. Just go back straight up.
Well, the light is out at top T. Pace car.
But I don't think they're coming to the green.
Well,
they got it. Nope, their lights back on.
Man.
Not going, bud. Not going.
Okay, they're going to put the caution lights back on, the yellow flag back out. So we're going to step aside briefly, then we'll come back, take you to the checkered flag here at Watkins Glen. Can Ryan Newman hang on? Can Vickers or Stewart catch him?
Right here gives it.
Back here at Watkins Glen, still under caution.
All right, we see the green flag being shown to the field next time by the start-finish line.
And Denny Hamlin is somewhere out there with a little assistance from little road assistance, isn't he?
He called AAA.
Yeah,
called AAA and had the tow truck pushing him.
There you go. So that's the reason they had to put the caution back out.
Well, he called Charlie's who he called, actually.
And I think all strategy is out the window right now. Whether you're close on gas or whatever the case may be, you got what you got and go for it.
And Hamlin's 6th, by the way, in the championship standing, so that hurts him. All right, out of the inner loop. Pace car will bring him around to the front stretch, and we'll have 3 laps to decide it.
Maybe, if not more.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild in turn 1, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be wild. And
Robbie Gordon in the 55. Paul Menard in the 11. That car is 7th. Dave?
And they've told Paul, guys in front of you are a little bit nervous about their fuel. If they start running out, we've got a great shot at it. Little pause. Driver responds, do we have any worries on fuel? Crew chief says, no, we don't. You're good to go.
Okay.
We hope.
3 to go.
PS postscript. We hope.
And all these guys are hoping for anything but a green-white checkered, because who knows where the last car that pitted is.
Coming to get the green here in the Zippo 200 at Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Busch Series live on NBC. Ryan Newman is the leader. Then Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, Martin Truex Jr., the championship leader in 5th. Robbie Gordon is 6th, has made the charge from 25th. The Menard, Nemechek, Getters, and J.J. Yaley, the top 10. Turn 6, then the right-hander turn 7. To the start-finish line, the green flag. And you probably can't tell it, but it is getting a little dark outside here.
Getting overcast again.
Yeah.
Now it's getting ready to get exciting.
Yes, it is. Be some sparks flying.
Yeah,
that's right.
Out of 7. Down the pit stretch. Waiting. Waiting. Here we go. On Newman.
Okay, we see Robbie Gordon gets on the inside of Mark Truex, takes a spot away.
Vickers all over the bumper of Newman. Charge up through the S's now. Newman and Vickers. Then Tony Stewart. Jeff Burton in the 21 car. Talked about it. He has a braking problem. Tony Stewart looking inside of Vickers.
That's what Newman wants to see right there. He wants to see those guys start racing and pull out to the lead.
Robbie Gordon checking inside of the 21. And there's Joe Nemechek looking at the 87. Nemechek looking at the 11, rather, in the 87. Newman leads in the 39. Robbie Gordon in the 55 has been the fastest car for about the last 50 laps. Fuel mileage hurting him. Now trying to make up ground with 2 to go.
Oh, Jeff Burton uses all the racetracks, some of the dirt.
2 to go. 2 car lengths on him. 2 to go.
All right, here comes Robbie Gordon on the inside of Burton.
With Truex in tow.
Burton just cannot get down into the braking zones. They just beat him up bad under braking.
Truex trying to look inside the 21. Newman trying to pull away. Robbie Gordon trying to catch the fast guys. Wait a minute, he is the fast guy.
He is the fastest
yes,
guy.
Yes, he is. He was fastest last time by.
Yep.
Lap and a half to get it done.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Casey Kane, the 6 car. Looks like he's made contact with someone in the inside wall on the S's or the backstretch, I should say. Like he has a car going again.
Yep. Truex looking at the 21, Jeff Burton. There's your leader, Ryan Newman. Truex making the move. On the outside of the 21.
White flag.
Last lap at the Glen. Waited 2 hours for this lap. 2 hours in a rain delay, and now 81 laps later. Here we go. Robbie Gordon inside of Tony Stewart. About 2 miles to go.
Tony tried to come back in turn 2, but could not quite find enough speed.
Final time through the S's.
Ryan Newman, he just, when Tony and the 5 got there racing, he just got out to a good lead there. Been able to keep it, so.
Last trip through the inner loop. Now the carousel. Robbie Gordon just running out of race. Ryan Newman, fast car. Good day.
Check this out.
Yep.
Check this out.
For
Robbie
second.
Gordon on the outside. Is that going to work? It did work.
Final turn right here. Ryan Newman through turn 7. Robbie Gordon's going to run out of race. That was fun to watch. Ryan Newman comes home the winner at Watkins Glen.
That was a great comeback by Robbie Gordon, though. I mean, he did a good job.
I don't think Tony Stewart and Brian Vickers are happy with each other.
Yeah, that's probably from the little interloop deal. These guys are wound up, but
not much you can do about it after the race.
And he still got gas.
Yeah.
Brian Miller still has fuel.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me come up here today.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay?
Kevin, good luck tomorrow. Thank you so much. It was terrific.
And thanks for hooking up Wally, too.
No problem.
All right. Matt.
And Roy McCauley, day of strategies, survival, what a win.
Yeah, the All-Tel Dodge was really good today. Ryan was definitely a superior driver. I mean, I can't say enough. The whole crew. Well, that goes to show you how much of a gamble it was. But
he just ran out of fuel.
Yes, sir, he did. But like I say, the All-Tel team did a great job. He did a great job. That's what happens. And we got lucky on some strategy. We played it and it worked. So had a lot of fun.
They brought out Ryan's old number from USAC and took it to victory lane.
So he ran out of fuel? No, he's still moving.
Yeah. Ryan Newman, the winner of today's NASCAR Busch Series race, is presented by Reese's Big Cup. He heads for victory lane. Coasting. And here's a look at the unofficial final results from the Glen. Robbie Gordon from 25th to 2nd after having a strong car and leading early. Brian Vickers and Tony Stewart have a discussion. Martin Truex Jr., the championship leader. Good run for Burton, Menard, Getters, and J.J. Yaley.
Carl Edwards, 11th spot. Biffle. Casey Kane survived that crash on the backstretch to finish 13th.
Randy LaJoy.
See, 26 cars on the lead lap. Jamie McMurray, the last car.
A lot of guys near the top of the championship standings had a disappointing day.
See, Wally was able to get his car, his transmission back to working.
And Truex now unofficially 122 points ahead of Clint Boyer. Let's quickly go down to Marty Snyder.
The road course racer Ryan Newman comes home with a victory at Watkins Glen here in the Busch Series. And what he said to the guys is, I don't want to spoil your party, but I just ran out of fuel. Someone's going to have to come get me. And Robbie Gordon came to his aid, and a lot of liquid in the air. And the biggest problem, the car's out of gear. You better put that car in gear before it rolls forward anymore, Ryan. You're the road course guy. That was an impressive pass for the win.
Yeah, I mean, Brian was driving a great race, and he just kind of overdrove it there a little bit. We capitalized, but great run by these guys. Roy made a great call. Ran out of fuel on the coast down lap there, and I actually coasted into here. Motor was dead. So thank the guys at the engine company. Thank guys that helped put this together, Don Miller, Roger Penske, and just look forward to more good things to come tomorrow.
How worried were you about that restart, Ryan?
I was more worried about running out of fuel, actually. I knew once we got I'm pretty good with qualifying fuel and out front and clean air, so I just was kind of hoping we had enough fuel to make it to the end.
Ryan Newman wins on the road course at Watkins Glen.
Well, it took us 2 hours to get it started, a 2-hour rain delay. We stuck with it. Glad you did too. Ryan Newman is happy he came. All right, thanks to Kevin Harvick for joining us here in the booth. Don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow, 1 Eastern time, for Nextel Cup racing from Watkins Glen, beginning with the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time on NBC, it's the 2005 U.S. Gymnastics Championship. So Ryan Newman wins today here at Watkins Glen. Tomorrow, the stars of the Nextel Cup Series on this 2.45-mile road course. Tony Stewart looking for back-to-back wins after winning at Indy a week ago, winning here a year ago, and winning at Sonoma earlier this year. Thanks for having us in for the race. We'll see you tomorrow on NBC.